Previously on SmackDown.
Eddie Guerrero's back in the ring with a chair and he hits the Big Show. The referee hasn't seen it. Latino Heat makes the pin. Wait, who's that? As a hooded figure comes to the ring and takes out Eddie Guerrero. TAKA turns round, only to be blindsided by the hooded figure, the person in a black mask again, before running into the parking lot. So Triple H, The Rock, will put his #1 contendership on the line against you tonight. The Rock is jumped from behind by the mysterious black mask, again with another blindside attack. Vince, we've got someone roaming around this arena in a hood and wearing a mask. Mick Foley, he's going to help you take care of this problem tonight. Chris Jericho is seen leaving the locker room when, "Hey!" shouts Michael Cole. "It's that black mask hooded figure and he's taking out Chris Jericho!" Mick Foley is backstage watching a recap of the attacks by the mysterious black mask. I mean, he looks familiar with the way he moves. Ah! There it is! Hey wait! There's the black mask figure! Is he heading to the ring too? The very men that the black mask has attacked early tonight have come out through the crowd to prevent the black mask from doing any further damage. This can only mean one thing: to hit the most electrifying move in sports entertainment, the People's Elbow. The Rock makes the cover in the middle of the ring as the referee counts the fall. So I'm going to make a guesstimation and say that under that black mask, that the mystery person is Willie. He takes off his mask and turns around to reveal himself. It's William Regal. We're less than a week away from Las Vegas as the countdown to Fully Loaded draws near. Joined by Paul Heyman and commentary, we're welcomed to Monday Night Raw by Jim Ross, as tonight's show emanates from the Guild Coliseum, located on the campus of Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon, where tonight William Regal will address the audience on the reason for his donning of the black mask and why he attacked multiple superstars on SmackDown 4 days ago. Jim Ross wonders if there's a reason as to why Chris Jericho, Eddie Guerrero, The Undertaker and The Rock happen to be in the former commissioner's crosshairs, but all will be revealed tonight. There continues to be speculation as to if, or possibly when, the World Wrestling Federation will be headed to Japan, either for a tour or even on pay-per-view. But Vince McMahon will also be here tonight to tell us if indeed the WWF will be flying to the land of the rising sun in the not so distant future. In tonight's matches, first, Rob Van Dam teams up with the APA to take on Steven Richards, Al Snow and Jerry Lynn. The Hardcore Champion was successful in defending his title again on SmackDown against Raven, but Steven Richards' morality crusade continues, and even if he has friends to help him tonight, he surely won't appreciate the fact that this is a 6-man tag team match with hardcore rules. No countouts, no disqualifications, and pinfalls can happen anywhere in the building. The referee will have his fans full for this match, let alone Steven Richards. And speaking of referees and having their hands full, a match that was recently announced contains a special guest referee in tonight's Intercontinental Championship match. Rikishi will battle Edge for the gold, and will hope that not only will he be able to continue to hold the title, but will also hope he can do it by gaining victory. But he isn't going to help Rikishi's cause, as the special guest referee just happens to be Test, and the two have had their problems within the last couple of weeks, more so on Raw last week, where Rikishi lost his match against Test, thanks to Edge. But Test has also had his issues with Edge too, despite being forced to team with him on SmackDown. Can the 6'7" special guest referee look beyond his issues with both Rikishi and Edge, and call the match down the middle? Next, Chris Hero takes on TAKA Michinoku. What will be the frame of mind of the newcomer now that he has a chance to redeem himself following defeat to Kane and SmackDown? And will he defy the big bossman's suggestion of stopping the handshaking and continue to be the respectful rookie as he traverses the shark-infested waters of the World Wrestling Federation? His opponent may not be Kane tonight, but that doesn't mean Chris Hero should take TAKA lightly. In women's action, Aja Kong and Bull Nakano will take on the opponent for Aja Kong at Fully Loaded in a tag team match. Jacqueline is on the lookout for a partner to team with to take on the former current women's champion. Does anyone have the courage to stand up and team with Jacqueline in tonight's tag team match? We'll also find out who the Dudley Boys will defend their tag team titles against in Las Vegas when X Factor, Too Cool and the Brothers of Destruction meet in the ring in a triple threat tag team match. First pinfall or submission wins. The Brothers of Destruction have had their issues with X Factor not so long ago, but their issues seem to be more with each other. Undertaker doesn't feel the monster still exists in his brother Kane, whilst the Big Red Machine seems to be getting tired of the dead man's requests. If the two can work together tonight, then surely the conclusion to this match is already foregone before it even begins. And one further match has been added to tonight's show, as Kurt Angle takes on Jeff Hardy in a singles match. The Olympic gold medalist must be counting down the days to get his hands on Shane McMahon when the two meet in a street fight at Fully Loaded. He'll also surely have an ally in Team Rec member Rhyno here, as it's more than likely that Jeff Hardy will have an ally in his brother Matt. Matt Hardy's the man that holds the European Championship, and he will defend that belt against Rhyno on Sunday. We'll also hear from The Rock tonight. Linda McMahon, Mick Foley, Triple H, Chris Jericho and the Radicalz are all here too, as Rory's War gets underway. It's William Regal opening the show, as the former commissioner comes down to the ring, and he's dressed in much more regal attire. Certainly a difference from the leather jacket clad, black mask wearing hooded figure that was seen in SmackDown, attacking various superstars. We're about to find out the explanation for Regal's actions, as the supposed goodwill ambassador takes to the mic. I continue to be flabbergasted by how stupid you Americans are, especially the ones right here in Corvallis. I mean, all weekend I've had people coming up to me, asking me why I did what I did, and not one of you brainless idiots has managed to figure it out. You Americans continue to astound me. And look at where we are, on campus of a bloody university. I tell you, if this is the state of your education system, then I worry for the future of America. I do. I really do. So do I, Regal, screams Paul Heyman in response, with Jim Ross asking him, oh yeah? Then you explain why Regal did what he did on SmackDown. No, I'll think I'll keep this one to myself, JR. Yeah, sure you will. You don't even know why yourself. But seeing as the wrestling world is dying to know what I did on SmackDown, okay, guess I'll tell you idiots why. Ever since I lost my role as commissioner, I've been left to rot as the World Wrestling Federation continues on without one iota of consideration to the well-being of yours truly. And now look at the state of the WWF. It continues to spiral downward. Look at what these wretched superstars are doing to the World Wrestling Federation. It's like inmates running a bloody asylum, I tell you. I mean, Chris Jericho, he goes and wins the King of the Ring because of Shane McMahon. Eddie Guerrero continues to lie to get into matches, and then he beats Big Show on SmackDown by cheating. The Undertaker, he thinks he's clever, scaring me when he turned the lights on in my office last month. And The Rock, coming back, thinking like he owns the place. I tell you, if I was still commissioner, none of this would be bloody well happening on my watch. And some of you may be wondering why I continue to stew around the office of Mr. McMahon these past few weeks and not confront the chairman directly for firing me at King of the Ring. Well, let's get one thing right, people. It was because of Mr. McMahon that I have a bloody job in the World Wrestling Federation, let alone being commissioner. And for that, Mr. McMahon, I am eternally grateful. And this is why I decided to wear the black mask, because when I was commissioner, most of these fellow ingrates backstage didn't seem to care about my job. but it took wearing a mask to get the attention of those WWF superstars. The kind of attention I should have been getting when I was your WWF commissioner. So I took matters into my own hands and targeted the people I felt responsible for my firing. Eddie Guerrero, you little swine! You think you could come and weasel your way into a tag team title match without giving me the proper appreciation? Chris Jericho, you poncy little toe rag! You think you're clever upstaging me in front of my queen and country? Undertaker, you think you're funny trying to scare me by turning off the lights during those blackouts last month? And speaking of blackouts, that leads me to you, Rocky. I bet you think your stupid little mind games were causing our WWF champion Stone Cold Steve Austin to lose his mind and cost me my job as commissioner were funny, eh? Well, I'll tell you what's funny, sunshine, and that's me beating you within an inch of your bloody life. Now, seeing as The Undertaker is already booked in a match tonight, that just leaves you three, Guerrero, Jericho, and Rock. So come on and get some right now.
Regal's calls are answered, as first, out comes Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero. He may have beaten Big Show on SmackDown 4 days ago, but as a result of the post-match attack by William Regal as the Black Mask, Latino Heat was unable to help during Malenko and Satin's tag team title match against the Dudleys, and that match was ended prematurely as a result of Big Show, Haku and Kurt Angle. Eddie Guerrero is soon in the ring when the countdown on the Titantron appears, which means Chris Jericho's not going to waste any time in coming down to the ring to confront the former commissioner himself. Both Y2J and Regal have been feuding ever since the Goodwill Ambassador took the role as commissioner back in March, the feud coming to an end last month at the Queen's Request pay-per-view in June, when Jericho humiliated Regal in front of his home crowd, and it transpired that the Queen was not at the show, but rather an elaborate plot to get revenge on Regal for his treatment of the women's division. But again, before Eddie Guerrero and Chris Jericho confront William Regal in the ring, out comes The Rock. The People's Champion survived on SmackDown 4 days ago by returning his #1 contendership to face Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship Fully Loaded by defeating Triple H. But he could have been close to losing that match against the game had it not been for Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho and The Undertaker being at ringside to prevent the Black Masked Regal from attacking the People's Champion again. The three-eye William Regal in the ring, and it looks like they're ready to attack the former commissioner, but the Goodwill Ambassador doesn't seem nervous, and it's obvious as to why, as the Big Show and Haku run down and enter the ring, even the playing field at 3 versus 3 as a brawl ensues. But just when Regal, Show and Haku look like they're getting the upper hand, out come the rest of the Radicalz, Benoit, Malenko and Satin to fend off the attack. Rock, Jericho and the Radicalz stand in the ring as Regal, Big Show and Haku are near the entrance ramp. William Regal picks up the mic and continues from where he left off.
Like birds of a feather, you guys are so predictable. Well, now that I've got everyone's bloody attention, you can bloody well listen to what I have to say. Now, Mr. McMahon has informed me about the threat of WCW towards the World Wrestling Federation. And even though I might not be commissioner anymore, that doesn't mean I can't still help by taking care of business for the chairman. And if it involves teaching you Latino cheat a lesson, then that's something I'm bloody well going to do. So as for the 8-man tag team match this Sunday at Fully Loaded, you're looking at the newest member of Big Show's team that's going to take out the Radicalz once and for all. But before Fully Loaded, I asked Mr. McMahon if I could avenge those that robbed me of my commissioner's role. And damn it, I will bloody well have my revenge tonight. So Guerrero, Jericho, Rock, you three are going to team up tonight to take on Haku, Big Show, and yours truly. And because I've lost the role as commissioner, you three better be careful when you step in the ring with me, sunshines, because there's nothing more dangerous than a Goodwill Ambassador with nothing left to lose.
Regal, Big Show and Haku walk back up the ramp and celebrate, whilst The Rock and Jericho stand in the ring and the Radicalz converse with each other. Match graphics are confirmed following Regal's announcements, as first, the 8-man tag team match for Fully Loaded, where the reuniting Radicalz, the group consisting of Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, will take on the team of Haku, Big Show and now William Regal. That just leaves one more partner that Big Show's team has to find between now and Sunday. Has the 7-foot giant found his partner, or does the search continue? The following graphic confirms tonight's main event, as the current setup of Haku, Big Show and William Regal take on a group of superstars that the Goodwill Ambassador argued cost him his job as commissioner, as the trio take on Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho and The Rock in tonight's 6-man tag team main event on Raw. The first match of the night sees Kurt Angle going one-on-one with Jeff Hardy. The Olympic gold medalist is aware that his opponent's brother is Matt Hardy, the European champion, and Matt will defend the gold against Rhyno at Fully Loaded, so the American hero feels that it makes sense to have fellow Team Rec member Rhyno accompany him into this opening match. Kurt Angle takes on Shane McMahon in a street fight in 6 days' time, and he'll be looking to do to Jeff Hardy right now with what Angle will be planning to do to the WCW owner at Fully Loaded. I will no doubt be hoping Shane is watching this match backstage. The rainbow-haired warrior is indeed accompanied by his brother, the European champion, and even though Jeff Hardy may not hold a championship at this moment in time, he has a glorious chance to make a name for himself if he can topple the Olympic gold medalist. But he did come off a singles victory over X-Pac on SmackDown, so he'll be looking to get the momentum going right now. Angle wastes no time, Irish whipping Jeff Hardy into the turnbuckle, a European uppercut with such force that it knocks Jeff off his feet down at the corner. Kurt then uses Jeff's legs to pick him up into a sit-out powerbomb. But even as the Olympic gold medalist wastes no time in attacking, Jeff wastes no time in countering. He may have missed hitting a splash into another corner of the ring, but he's agile enough to counter the American hero. A stomp, an elbow drop and a kick to the back of the former WWF champion for added measure. If the American hero is here to show in this match why he's going to destroy the WCW owner in 6 days' time, then he's not convincing the audience thus far. But that changes when Angle counters Jeff's attacks and locks in a leg lock submission. The former tag team champion breaks out with the hold, but Heyman points out in commentary that Angle's submissions are what Shane has to look forward to in Las Vegas. Angle follows up with a knee to the gut after reversing an Irish whip, and superbly springboards off the turnbuckle to hit the moonsault on the rainbow-haired warrior. He's only got a 1 count, despite how impressive he connected with the aerial attack. Rhyno tries to throw Jeff off his game by throwing a chair into the ring, and Matt Hardy's not having any of it, charging round the outside of the ring to clothesline the man-beast from behind, a high kick followed by a reverse STO. Meanwhile, back in the ring, the referee removes the chair from the mat as Jeff continues with the attacks, a flying clothesline, atomic drop, and then a leg drop into Angle's nether regions, and then a low drop kick to Olympic gold medalist sat down on the mat. Jeff waits for his opponent to get up after a flurry of attacks from the former Intercontinental and Tag Team champion. Angle is up, with Jeff kicking the Olympic gold medalist in the gut and hitting the twist of fate. The referee comes down to count the pin. Could we be looking at a shot victory? Angle's in trouble and rolls out of the ring. The man-beast decides to get in the ring and distract Jeff, whilst Matt comes in to attack the man-beast. The rainbow-haired warrior sees Angle out at ringside and goes for it all, jumping out of the ring. But he misses a somersault and crashes and burns. Angle gets Jeff back in the ring as the referee decides to throw out Matt Hardy for his altercation with Rhyno. Matt Hardy's trying to plead his case, but the referee's not having any of it, and just to make sure, he also throws Rhyno out of the match too. But he's not seen Kurt Angle hit the low blow on Jeff Hardy behind him. The 2 competitors for the European Championship leave the match, as Angle hits a right hand on Jeff, and then another, before rolling up one half of Team Extreme for the cover. Jeff has somehow managed not only to break the pin, but counted to roll up of his own. Another 2 count. Angle's managed to do the same, break up the pin and counter it to roll up of his own. But again, only another 2 for the 3rd time in a row, so close between the 2 competitors. Jeff is up quicker than Angle, and Irish whips him into the corner, before placing the Olympic gold medalist out of the corner, so the more extreme member of the Hardy Boys stands back in the opposite corner and charges at his opponent with a front missile dropkick. Jeff covers Kurt Angle for the pin, but unfortunately still 2. Jeff is so close to the shot victory here. Angle's back up though, and he hits the right hand at Jeff before hitting the Angle slam on his opponent. He surely looks confident of victory now, and he celebrates on the ropes until Shane McMahon's music hits. The WCW owner walks down to the ring, and he's grabbed the attention of his opponent for Fully Loaded. Shane gestures for Angle to come get him at the entrance ramp, but Kurt walks into a jumping clothesline from Jeff Hardy. The member of Team Extreme picking up his opponent, hitting him with a right hand, and then following with a suplex. Jeff knows the time has come. He jumps to the top turnbuckle and hits the Swanton Bomb. Shane stands at ringside. Jeff makes the cover. The referee comes down for the pin. Just like the opening match at King of the Ring, where Angle beats Shane McMahon's friend Test in a semi-final due to controversy, Jim Ross remarks that Rory's War has opened up tonight in the same fashion. Paul Heyman is irate with the distraction from the WCW owner, but Jim Ross feels Kurt got what he deserved. But what about Jeff Hardy? A tremendous victory for the member of Team Extreme. He's just beaten the former WWF champion, as Jeff celebrates with the fans. Shane McMahon walks back from the curtain and is interrupted by his sister, Stephanie McMahon. "Shane, you've got to stop what you're doing! This whole WCW thing is really starting to work our dad! This isn't our dad?" Shane asks in response. "You mean your dad? Your dad wants nothing to do with me anymore, Stephanie, and you know, I'm alright with that. Now that I own WCW, I can show the whole world that, whilst your dad was a good businessman, I'll be an even better businessman with World Championship Wrestling's renaissance. And that will be very soon." The siblings are interrupted by Chris Jericho. Shane shakes the hand of Y2J, but Stephanie has a look of disgust and says in a rather sarcastic tone to the King of the World, "Hello, Jericho." To which Jericho obliges. "Hello, Stephanie." Whoa, wait, what is that? Jericho points at Stephanie's head and starts laughing at Shane's sister. "You know, Shane, you talked about WCW being reborn and the WWF starting to be old and out of touch. But speaking of old, Stephanie, is that a grey hair on your head? Oh God, it is. What? No, it isn't." Stephanie messes with her hair. "Good God, Stephanie, I thought you were the youngest of the McMahons. Turns out you're the oldest. Hey, don't worry, Steph, I know a really good retirement home not too far from here." Stephanie continues to grimace, screams, and then runs off. Jericho laughs as Shane smiles and shakes his head. "Look, Shane, all kidding aside, you talked about WCW being the new, hungry alternative, and then go looking to bring in the Radicalz. Is there truth to the rumours that they're going to be joining you?" But Shane smiles and Jericho replies, "Well, you're just going to see what happens tonight." Shane walks off as the Ayatollah Rock and Roller has a surprised look at his face. Jacqueline is walking backstage as the hardcore legend catches up to the woman that will challenge Aja Kong for the women's title in Las Vegas. Jackie! Oh. Mickey's out of breath from running and catching up to the former women's champion. Give me a sec. Oh boy, too many steps in this arena, I tell you. Look, Jacqueline, I understand you've got the chance to become a 3-time women's champion at Fully Loaded, but is this worth it? I mean, it's one thing to go one-on-one with Aja Kong, but your career is on the line. Are you truly sure you're ready for the challenge? But Jacqueline responds, "Mick, you know me, I ain't afraid of no man, let alone woman. Now come on, follow me, I may have an idea for a tag partner for tonight." Hey Jackie, wait up. Hi. Jacqueline walks around the corner to bump into all 3 Holly cousins. The 3 converse with each other until they see Jacqueline. "Hey, what's up?" Jacqueline asks. "Look, Molly, I need a partner for tonight's tag team match against Archer and Bull. Are you up for the challenge?" Crash and Hardcore aren't so sure, and they look at Molly as if to suggest that accepting this tag team match would not be a sound idea. But Molly looks pensive, before out of nowhere agreeing to the idea. "Sure, Jacqueline, you got it. But on one condition, if you win the women's championship, and golly, I hope you do, then I want the first title shot on Raw next week." Jacqueline agrees. Sure, Molly, you got it. Right, here's what I'm thinking about tonight. Mick Foley catches up, but Jacqueline has left with Molly, as Crash and Hardcore look at an exhausting Mick Foley. Crash remarking, "You gotta stop working out, Mick. Too much exercise is not good for you, you know." Hardcore laughs as the Hawley cousins walk off, with Mick still trying to catch his breath, and sarcastically responds, "Jeez, Crash, thanks for the advice." Oh. Raven is somewhere in the arena, probably deep underground in an unknown location, as he stares into the camera. Initially emotionless, he speaks. "Many civilizations have been lost to the sands of time, and yet the very people of those civilizations continue to cling on to the nostalgia of the past. But the wings of the Raven open up, and they fly to a new era, and a new civilization. A civilization that lives, a civilization that thrives, a civilization that doesn't dwell in the doldrums of the ghosts of eras past. And this new era will flourish with me at its helm. Quoth the Raven, nevermore." "Hey, Raven!" Raven's mysterious ramblings are interrupted by Rob Van Dam, who wants to know why Raven walked out following the conclusion of the Hardcore title match last Thursday. "Hey man, what's gotten into you? Why did you decide to walk out after our title match? Did you not see what was going on in the ring when I was getting beaten up?" Raven responds, "Rob, what happened on SmackDown was a thing of the past. Just like our associations, they're a thing of the past. Now leave me be." Raven walks off, with Van Dam confused as to what Raven means. Women's tag team action up next, as the team of Bull Nakano and Aja Kong take on Jacqueline and a partner she managed to recruit just a few moments ago in Molly Holly. In 6 days' time, Aja Kong will defend her championship against Jacqueline. The further stipulation was added to that title match on SmackDown 4 days ago, when the challenger agreed to put her career on the line on Sunday in order to get tonight's tag team match. A foolish move, thinks Paul Heyman. Molly Holly's persona certainly does give off happy-go-lucky vibes, but Aja and Bull shouldn't overlook Molly's visage of positivity. Sure, she looks like she couldn't hurt a fly, but she has no problem getting in the ring and hurting her opponent if it meant getting the victory. After all, she had no problem accepting Jacqueline's request to join in tonight's tag team match. Although Jacqueline has had her issues with Terry these past couple of weeks, and proven that she's indeed not broken down, the challenger for the women's title at Fully Loaded has shown again that she isn't afraid by challenging the champion and her manager to a tag team match tonight. But if she's going to prove the doubters wrong in Las Vegas, she really needs this victory to shift the momentum in her favour. The Hollies were indeed right to be concerned when, in the early moments of the match, Aja Kong hits Molly Holly with snake eyes in one corner, and then Irish whips her opponent to the turnbuckle of her partner, Bull Nakano, choking Molly in the corner, picking her up off the ground by her legs, and sending her crashing to the mat once again. This is just too easy, so much so that Aja turns to Jacqueline at the ropes and tells her that this is what Jacqueline can expect at Fully Loaded. The challenger for the Women's Championship seems powerless to stop the Aja Kong onslaught. If the might of Aja Kong wasn't bad enough, then setting up Molly in the middle of the ring, tagging her partner Bull Nakano into the match, having Bull go at the ropes and being launched off the top turnbuckle like a lawn dart, short of tackling Molly in the process, is a scary sight indeed. A couple of stomps and a knee to the face. It's as if they're playing with their food. Bull goes to taunt Jacqueline in the corner. The challenger for the women's title has had enough, however, and reaches out a right hand to attack Bull, before getting in the ring, but Jacqueline's already sent over the top ropes for her troubles. It seems it's only a matter of when, rather than if this match ends in victory for Aja and Bull, but when the former WWF Women's Champion picks up Molly Holly, she elbows her way out of trouble, Nakano releasing the hold. Molly gingerly works her way to the corner, but unfortunately, Jacqueline hasn't made her way back to the ring apron. Too little, too late to make the tag, as Bull Nakano is able to grab a hold of Molly once again, hits another snake eyes, sending Molly face first into the top turnbuckle pad. Bull follows up with a banzai drop, but but this seems to light a fire in Molly, who somehow manages to reverse an Irish whip into the corner of Aja Kong, following up with a running left knee into the face of Bull in the corner, and finally being able to make the tag to Jacqueline. Jacqueline steams into the corner, driving the right foot into the face of Bull Nakano, and is now taunting Aja herself. The women's champion demands a tag, and Bull makes a tag, with Aja getting into the ring and quickly taking out Jacqueline with a clothesline. The former two-time women's champion tries to trip up the current women's champion, but Aja is more than alert, and soon picks up Jacqueline to hit Snake Eyes, this time on the top rope. It's now time for Jackie to suffer the same fate as Molly, as Aja tags Bull back in, with Nakano climbing to the top, before Aja again launches Bull off the top turnbuckle with a diving shoulder tackle to Jacqueline. Bull continues to drive the head of Jacqueline into the mat, but Jackie's up to hit a low dropkick on the unsuspecting Bull Nakano. Aja gets in the ring and charges at Jacqueline with a running body press, jumps over a fallen opponent and taunts Molly, only for Molly to grab Aja by the head and headbutt the women's champion. Molly gets her revenge by breaking up the pin. Jacqueline is back up and hits a DDT on Bull, turning this match around. Aja is down at ringside. Jacqueline sets up Bull and hits a spinning heel kick. Jacqueline makes the cover as Molly cheers her on. Aja is still down and hasn't seen the finish. The referee makes the count.
Back up, Paul! Jacqueline and Molly just beat Aja Kong and Bull Nakano! Jackie's game plan has worked!
Says Jim Ross. Indeed it has. Jacqueline and Molly overcame insurmountable odds to defeat the unstoppable forces of Aja and Bull, and it's Jacqueline getting the pinfall victory. She may not have pinned Aja Kong, as Paul Heyman has mentioned to Jim Ross in response, but she has beaten Aja Kong's team, and this is the momentum that she really needs if she is to slay the monster that is Kong for the women's title in 6 days' time.
Look, Kane, tonight we've got a chance to take the gold at Fully Loaded. First we deal with Too Cool and X Factor, and this time we defeat the Dudley Boys without any stupid distractions or roll-ups.
Kane turns his head sideways, as if to suggest he can't believe what the Undertaker's saying.
You seem awfully calm about tonight's match, given me what William Regal said about you earlier. And you tell me to be a monster? Well, where's the dark side of the dead man I once knew?
Don't test me, says the Undertaker firmly. I'm well aware of Regal's comments, and I'll deal with him later. But in the meantime, you just keep living up to the brother I know you can be, okay?
The Brothers of Destruction are then confronted by one of the tag teams they'll face later tonight, when X-Pac, Just Incredible and Albert come into camera shot. The leader of X-Factor says to Undertaker and Kane,
Hey, if it isn't the tag team losers, how do you expect to win tonight's triple threat tag match against X-Factor and those idiots from 2 Uncool when you couldn't even get the job done against us at Judgment Day? How do you expect to win the tag team titles at Fully Loaded when you couldn't even beat the Dudley Boys for the gold last week? And Undertaker, you claim to be a badass, yet you got your ass handed to you by a guy wearing a mask. Let's face it, guys, you don't have, which is what we are, the X Factor.
X-Pac, Just Incredible and Albert leave as the Undertaker stares at the group walk off, with Kane seriously annoyed with the lack of a reaction from his brother.
You tell me to be the monster I once was, and now you're the one just letting X-Pac get away with what he's told you? I think it's you who needs to be the dead man you used to be. I'm telling you, Undertaker, come on!
Kane walks off as Undertaker, still watching X-Pac walk off, now looks at his brother as he's leaving. The chairman of the board makes his way down to the ring, as Vince McMahon is here to address the speculation of if, or rather when, the World Wrestling Federation could be headed to Japan. It's been a while since the World Wrestling Federation has toured the land of the rising sun, more recently a Mania tour of Japan in 1994, as Vince takes to the mic.
Now, I know there are rumours and speculation going round that the WWF could be headed to Japan soon, and I can confirm to the audience tonight, and the people watching at home, that the rumours are indeed true.
Jim Ross says,
Alright, the WWF is going to Japan, this'll be great.
To which Paul Heyman agrees,
Oh JR, I can't wait, Japan is such a great country for professional... Shh,
let's hear what Vince has to say. As Vince continues. Now, whilst I can't give out all the specifics, what I can tell you is I've been talking to someone in the back, and I can promise you that the WWF will be heading to Japan next month. Now, as I said, I can't mention a lot of the specifics as of yet, but all will be revealed next week. Now, on to other business. Fully Loaded is just round the corner. Vince is interrupted by former Commissioner Mick Foley, and the Hardcore Legend is accompanied by Vince's wife. At least, still his wife at this moment in time. Foley was successful in solving the mystery of the Black Mask on SmackDown, and now he'll be looking to once again become the WWF Commissioner. But it's Linda McMahon who takes to the mic on Mick's behalf. Now Vince, we agreed in principle that if Mick Foley was successful in solving the mystery of the Black Mask, then you would once again consider Mick for the role of WWF Commissioner. And Vince, Mick did indeed solve the mystery by revealing to the world that the Black Mask was William Regal. Mick interrupts Linda and says, and Vince, I want you to consider me for the role for Commissioner once again, right here in Corvallis, Oregon. Oh, how predictable! Another cheap pop, says Paul Heyman. Vince politely nods at Linda and Mick, and looks like he's going to acquiesce. Alright, Linda, Mick, you said you were going to solve the mystery, and by God I can't believe it. You've managed to achieve something you set out to do, Foley. But I still got business I need to tend to first, before I can make a decision. So I'll make you a deal, Mick. I will consider you for the role of WWF Commissioner, and furthermore, Mick, I will give you your decision in Las Vegas and Fully Loaded. Mick Foley puts his arm up in the air as Linda nods and smiles at Vince. Jim Ross is happy with the decision, but Paul Heyman rolls his eyes. Vince continues. Now, if you guys don't mind, I need to address the audience tonight about... The chairman can't proceed, as out comes Triple H and Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. The game isn't going to face Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF title in 6 days, as he lost in the One Contenders match in SmackDown against The Rock, and he doesn't look to be in a good mood either. Speaking of not looking like they're in a good mood, the same can be applied to Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, after being mocked for her appearance by Chris Jericho earlier in the night. Vince isn't too pleased with another interruption. Now what the hell can I do for you? He says to Triple H and Stephanie, as the game takes to the mic. Vince, it's very simple. I don't have plans for Fully Loaded. I don't even have plans for a match for tonight. But what I do have plans for is to kick Chris Jericho's ass. You change the nice 6-man tag team match, Vince. You take Y2J out of that match and you put him in a singles match against me. I can't do that, Hunter. Taking Y2J out of that match will make it a tag team match, which means one of Regal, Big Show and Haku would have to drop out of that match too. A match that Regal specifically requested and I granted. Sorry, Hunter, Well, Vince, if you can't take away, then you add. Make tonight's match an 8-man tag team match. Put me on Regal's team so I can kick Y2J's ass. Are you serious, Hunter? I can't add to tonight's tag team match. That means The Rock, Chris Jericho and Eddie Guerrero will need to find a partner before the main event. And now that's not giving them very much notice to find a partner, pal. Well, Dad, if you're more concerned about the WWF in Japan, or giving Mick Foley the commissioner's role once again, and not attending to the needs of your own family, especially your own daughter and only son, well, Vince, your biggest issue won't be solving the problems you have with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Your biggest issue will be with me. Triple H throws the mic down and lets Stephanie out of the ring by holding the ropes. The two walk off up the ramp as Linda McMahon and Mick Foley think to themselves, oh dear. And that's exactly what Jim Ross and Paul Heyman say out loud. Oh dear! Vince has his head in his hands as he tries to juggle with his personal as well as his professional challenges as chairman.
What does everybody want?
The next match sees hardcore action in the form of a 6-man tag team match, as Steven Richards teams with Al Snow and Jerry Lynn to take on the team of Rob Van Dam and the APA. Al Snow's been asked by Steven Richards to help with the mission of dethroning Rob Van Dam of his Hardcore Championship and ending the Hardcore division. The former RTC leader blames Van Dam for people like Al Snow not getting ahead in his WWF career as of late. Jerry Lynn has been light heavyweight champion for close to 3 months now, and he had his opportunity to shine when he retained the title against Spike Dudley at King of the Ring. But he hasn't been seen much since last month's pay-per-view. Again, Steven Richards has pointed the finger at the Hardcore Champion as the reason that stars like Jerry Lynn have not been on TV. Jerry was only too eager to accept Steven Richards' proposition as a result. The Steven Richards morality crusade continues as he looks to take out not only Rob Van Dam, but also the Acolytes, with the aid of Jerry Lynn and Al Snow. The former leader of Right to Censor had his chance to beat Rob Van Dam for the Hardcore title and end the Hardcore division in a non-Hardcore rules match, but ultimately fell short. He has the chance to get his revenge tonight on the whole effing show, but he must do it this time in a Hardcore rules setting. The Acolytes Protection Agency were successful in helping Rob Van Dam fend off the threat of Steven Richards, Jerry Lynn and Al Snow before and after his successful title defence against Raven on SmackDown. Hopefully Van Dam took SmackDown commentator Taz's advice and awarded Farouk and Bradshaw double pay, and he'll be hoping that they can come up with the goods again in a few moments. Van Dam's WWF career has flourished in such a short amount of time, defeating Rhyno for the Hardcore Championship in his pay-per-view debut, and then going on to make successful title defences against Rhyno, Spike Dudley, Steven Richards and Raven. And although Steven has continued to be a problem for the whole effing show, and the friendship between Van Dam and Raven seems pretty much done, he'll be glad to at least put his hardcore skills to use this time in a 6-man hardcore tag team match. Al Snow and Farouk of the APA start things off, with the former Nation of Domination leader indeed being the dominator in the opening moments, working well with fellow acolyte Bradshaw to take out the former European champion by throwing him over their heads. Bradshaw follows up by laying in the heavy elbows and nasty looking karate kick to the face of Al Snow. This could be over already, and Steven Richards may know this to be the case, as he runs in and breaks up the pinfall. He's shouting at Bradshaw, but the former tag team champion is not going to give Steven the time of day, attacking him with chops, a kick to the gut and a DDT. That'll teach Steven, thinks Jim Ross. But the distraction from Steven Richards has allowed Al Snow to get into the match, taking out Bradshaw's leg with the arm, followed by right hands and then a swinging neckbreaker. He then makes a tag to the former RTC leader, who can now get his revenge on the Big Texan. Al Snow and Steven Richards combining to hit a double shoulder tackle. That's one way to take Bradshaw off his feet. Steven follows up by Irish whipping Bradshaw into the ropes and responds with an elbow to the face. He then tries to choke out Bradshaw, whilst Al Snow is on the outside of the ring. He grabs a chair and slides it in the ring to Richards. It's all legal in this hardcore rules match, as Bradshaw tries to shake off the cobwebs, while Steven readies the chair to scramble the brains of the Big Texan, but doesn't see the spear incoming from Bradshaw. A tag to Farouk leads to a lariat on the former leader of Right to Censor. It's Farouk ready in the chair shot, but Steven manages to make the tag to Jerry Lynn, who grabs at Farouk before the former Nation leader can use the weapon. The quick arms and footwork of the light heavyweight champion has Farouk in trouble, and he follows up with a slingshot DDT to Bradshaw on the hardest part of the ring apron. Farouk makes a tag to Rob Van Dam before going out of the ring to deal with Jerry Lynn, hitting a suplex at ringside. Meanwhile, at the other end of the ring, the hardcore champion hits a DDT of his own on a still recovering Steven Richards on the ring apron, before heading back to his corner, as Farouk hits a sidewalk slam on Jerry Lynn, whilst Al Snow throws Bradshaw back into the ring, before Farouk does the same to the light heavyweight champion. The whole effing show follows up with a couple of drop kicks, the second one sending Jerry Lynn crashing down, with the back of his head bouncing off the chair. He goes for cover, and it would have been enough had Al Snow surely not made the save. Any excuse for Bradshaw to get involved again, as he chases off the former European champion. The Hardcore Champion resumes his offense on a Light Heavyweight Champion before Van Dam makes the tag to Farouk, the two combining to take out the Light Heavyweight Champion with a double shoulder tackle. Farouk's pin is broken up by Steven Richards, leading to the rest of the superstars getting in the ring for a brawl. Talk about an onslaught. Al Snow's hit the snowplow on Rob Van Dam, but Steven Richards is taken out by Farouk, who hits a Dominator. Meanwhile, Bradshaw hits Jerry Lynn with a pile driver, and he goes for a pin, but the Light Heavyweight Champion kicks out at 2, whilst Al Snow hits a suplex on Farouk. Bradshaw's thrown over the top rope. Farouk has now got a baseball bat, and he's attacking Al Snow at ringside. The referee needs to keep his eyes open here, as pinfalls can happen anywhere. Jerry Lynn leaps over the ropes to take out Bradshaw. Steven Richards then throws Rob Van Dam over the top rope and gets out of the ring himself. He looks under the ring for a weapon and brings out the kendo stick. Jim Ross scoffs at the thought of a morality crusade, as Steven is using weapons to attack his opponent, even if they are legal in this match. Meanwhile, Farouk is back in the ring and attempts to attack Jerry Lynn with a baseball bat, only for the Light Heavyweight Champion to grab the bat and attack Farouk himself. Lynn throws the bat out of the ring and has the former tag team champion between his legs to set up for the cradle pile driver. The Light Heavyweight Champion hits his finishing move. Bradshaw and Al Snow are still reeling at ringside, while Steven Richards continues the attack on Rob Van Dam with a kendo stick, whilst Jerry Lynn pins Farouk, his feet on the ropes for good measure.
Well, who'd have thought it? Asked Jim Ross. This proves that really anything can happen in the WWF.
And Paul Heyman doesn't doubt that assessment. This was a hardcore match that should have benefited the hardcore champion Rob Van Dam and the APA. But ironically, it's the Morality Crusaders, or rather the Anti-Morality Crusade tonight, of Steven Richards' team, and their game plan that has led to their victory. Lots to think about for these 6 superstars. Van Dam will be wondering how he's lost at his own game, while Steven Richards must be wondering the need for morality, because it was the lack of morality that has gotten his team the win. Jim Ross then announces the latest matchbook for Fully Loaded. This will not be the last time we see these 6 competitors in the ring tonight, because in 6 days' time, these 6 superstars will battle in a 6-pack challenge for Rob Van Dam's Hardcore Championship. The whole Heffing Show's Hardcore title reign is in whole effing danger, adds Paul Heyman, because there's not only a 1 in 6 chance of Van Dam keeping his title, but there's also the added concerns that this is hardcore rules. No countouts, no disqualifications, no rope breaks. Rob Van Dam doesn't need to be pinned nor submitted in order to lose the belt, and moreover, the pinfall or submission can happen anywhere in the arena. RVD may have the hardcore experience over his 5 opponents, but how on earth does he survive the 6-pack challenge in Las Vegas? Shane McMahon comes down to the ring. The WCW owner told Chris Jericho early in the night to watch how things will unfold when it comes to the Radicalz. Jim Ross and Paul Heyman are both wondering if indeed Shane's going to make another attempt at getting Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn to jump ship, and if indeed the Radicalz may have had a change of heart since SmackDown. Now, it seems that I've ruffled a few feathers ever since I made an approach to the Radicalz 4 days ago. And many of you fans are in this arena, as well as across the world, are wondering if indeed the Radicalz could be jumping ship. But seeing as the 5 of us were interrupted during the proceedings on SmackDown, and just seeing what happened to Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero and Saturn, I'd like to ask the 4 of you to come down to the ring again, so we can pick up from where we left off last Thursday. The Radicalz theme hits as the group of Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn do indeed come down to the ring. Following the attack of the mysterious Black Mask, revealed to be William Regal on Latino Heat, and then the blindsided attacks of Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon, and then Big Show and Haku on the rest of the Radicalz. The question is now, have the collective of Benoit, Malenko, Saturn and Guerrero thought more about Shane's proposition since 4 days ago? Shane McMahon picks up from where he left off last Thursday. Now guys, let's review where we left off on SmackDown. I said to you that the WCW was the new, hungry, alternative company that's soon coming to kick the WWF's ass. And as soon as I asked you guys if you wanted to play where the big boys play, there was Big Show, Haku and Kurt Angle coming to take us all out. Don't you see, Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, Saturn? The reason why Big Show, Haku and Kurt Angle cheap-shotted us on SmackDown? They think they're doing it for the good of the World Wrestling Federation. But I can tell you guys, they did it because they're afraid. Now that you guys are officially back together, the WWF is indeed afraid of a Radicalz takeover again. But how about this? Instead of doing it for the World Wrestling Federation, you come and represent Shane O'Mac and World Championship Wrestling. Jim Ross and Paul Heyman have a bad feeling about what's going to happen, because if SmackDown was anything to go by, the Radicalz haven't exactly been given fair treatment, and there's nothing by way of propositioning from the WWF side to keep the Radicalz there. Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn all smile at each other, and smile as well as nod at Shane McMahon. The Rabid Wolverine responds to the WCW owner's proposition. You make a compelling argument, Shane. The WWF fears the Radicalz. And you're right. The WWF should fear the Radicalz. As Benoit is talking, Latino Heat's opponents for tonight's 6-man tag team main event, as well as the Radicalz opponents in an 8-man tag team match at Fully Loaded, appear on stage. And they're joined by the man who will face Shane McMahon in Las Vegas. Big Show, Haku, William Regal and Kurt Angle all look on at the stage entrance, waiting to hear what must be the inevitable, the Radicalz joining WCW, as Benoit continues. I'm glad Vince McMahon's flunkies aren't here to see this too, because God, we're gonna kick your asses at Fully Loaded. And Shane, we want to thank you for reaching out to ask us to join WCW, because Shane, you obviously know the talent where you see it. And as for that, Shane, that's why we must decline your offer. What? A synchronicity of what's from the WCW owner and the WWF commentators, as well as the shot looks from the 4 superstars on stage. The Radicalz are turning down the offer to jump ship and remain with the World Wrestling Federation. Benoit continues. Look, Shane, as far as World Championship Wrestling goes, the 4 of us have been there, and we've wrestled there. Hell, I want a World Championship there. And whilst I don't doubt that the new direction of WCW will be better under your tenure, Shane, as far as we're concerned, we're here with the World Wrestling Federation to take out the WWF's finest. Because Show, Regal, Haku, we are the Radicalz, and we are the WWF's finest. Prove us wrong! An arena full of emotion to describe following Benoit's response. The Radicalz celebrate. Shane McMahon admittedly looks downtrodden, but looks like he respects the decision of Benoit and the Radicalz. Big Show, Haku, William Regal and Kurt Angle walk off, whilst Jim Ross's voice would indicate that, while surprised, he's relieved that the Radicalz are still with the World Wrestling Federation. I gotta admit, Paul, I wanted to blame them for jumping ship, considering how they were treated on SmackDown. But I admire the courage of Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn to stay with the WWF and to work out their issues against Big Show, Haku, Regal and whoever the 4th man could be at Fully Loaded. Paul Heyman says he's surprised too, as the Radicalz shake hands and high-five each other as they walk up the ramp, while Shane McMahon is still in the ring, looking defeated. Edge and Christian are in the back, planning, or rather, scheming. Edge has a chance to become the Intercontinental Champion tonight, whilst Christian doesn't have a match. So you get a shot for the Intercontinental title against Test because of some schmoz you two had in that 6-man tag team match on SmackDown? Man, that reeks of unfairness, says Christian. But Edge tries to cheer up his brother. Are you kidding me, Christian? Sure, I've got a chance to once again become Intercontinental Champion, but you have the chance to really make a name for yourself against the Brothers of Destruction. Can you just imagine it? Undertaker and Kane being put to shame by one half of the greatest tag team champions of all time in Christian? I know which I'd rather be. Edge has Christian believing I'd rather be in Christian's shoes. You mean you'd rather be the one challenging Undertaker and Kane than for the Intercontinental title? But it turns out Edge was just being sarcastic. No, I'd rather be winning the gold tonight. But listen, Christian, you go on out and stick it to the Brothers of Destruction. Then you can watch me become Intercontinental Champion afterwards. And then both of us can show Oregon who the true Brothers of Destruction are when Raw is finished, eh? Christian thinks to himself and then says, do you know what, Edge? You're right. I'll get the better of the Brothers of Destruction, and then when you win the Intercontinental Championship, you'll have no choice but to defend that belt against me. And then I'm going to beat you for the gold. Sure, Christian, that isn't going to happen. But anyway, let's get ready for tonight. Because tonight is our night. The brothers walk off as Jim Ross thinks to himself, Christian isn't wrestling the Brothers of Destruction tonight. But does he plan on interfering in the Undertaker and Kane's triple threat tag team match to determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles at Fully Loaded? And if so, does Christian have a death wish? Backstage, in the chairman's VIP suite, Vince McMahon is sat on the chair talking on the phone.
No doubt,
Vince says to the caller.
This is going to be one for the ages. The rematch from WrestleMania. Austin versus The Rock for the WWF Championship. And I get to watch my former son Shane's Haas handed to him by our esteemed gold medalist Kurt Angle. Well, whilst I've got you on the phone, I want to talk about Japan. You'll be here? You'll be here next week? You'll be here for Raw next Monday. Oh, this is wonderful news. Well, I'm looking forward to meeting with you face to face for the first time. This is going to send shockwaves with the World Wrestling Federation. Yeah, come in.
Vince sees the person enter his suite. It's Triple H again. But Vince's smile hasn't left his face, probably because of the phone call.
Look, I'll have to call you back. Business continues. But I'll be looking forward to Monday, and then we can reveal to the World Wrestling Federation your plans. Talk to you soon.
The chairman puts the phone down. The Cheshire Cat grin reduced to a polite smile, but still a smile nonetheless.
You wanted to see me, Dad?
Triple H says in a rather sarcastic tone.
Look, Triple H, I still can't change tonight's main event. I'm sorry, okay? But there's other things I need to talk to you about. And I've got to be honest, you're not going to like it. Well, alright, Vince. What is your genius master plan this time? Is it me taking care of Chris Jericho? Is it me dealing with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Is it me kicking The Rock's ass? What is it you want, Vince? Look, as far as Stone Cold Steve Austin goes, me and him have spoken earlier before tonight. And we're fine. We've moved on from him giving me the stunner last week on Raw. You what? Hunter, listen. I moved on from the stunner, but as I've said before, just because I forgive doesn't mean I forget. And to be honest, Hunter, you need to do the same too. You need to move on from thinking it was Austin that cost you your Intercontinental title match at King of the Ring. You need to move on from the fact that you won't be facing Stone Cold for the gold at Fully Loaded. The reason why we're in this damn position is because none of us are working together, and that's what we need to do. So you're going to work with me to mend fences with Stone Cold, okay? You're unbelievable, Vince. Sometimes I wonder, if you can abandon Shane and recognize me as your only son, then you're just as capable of abandoning me and Stephanie and recognizing Stone Cold Steve Austin as your only child. Whatever it is you're concocting, Vince, it better have a payoff that works in my favor, because if it doesn't, you can stop worrying about me coming after Stone Cold Steve Austin, or The Rock, or Chris Jericho, and stop worrying about me coming after you and your position as chairman of the World Wrestling Federation.
Triple H storms off as Vince screams,
What the hell are you talking about?
The door slams shut as Vince says out loud,
Well, unbelievable.
Yo, you dealing with the X Factor.
The next match will determine the number one contenders for the tag team titles at Fully Loaded, as the Brothers of Destruction meet Too Cool and a team coming down to the ring now, X Factor, in a triple threat tag team match. Tornado style rules, no countouts and no disqualifications. First pinfall or submission will win the match. X Factor will hope to be that team. As much as they've had their issues with Kane and The Undertaker, they will still feel their owed a tag team title rematch from their tag team title loss to the Dudley Boys in a tag team turmoil match at Queen's request. Tonight is their chance. Scotty 2 and Grandmaster Sexay haven't been seen much recently, but they were victorious in their last match when they teamed with Rikishi to defeat the team of Edge, Christian and Test. It might have been a 6-man tag team match, but tonight's match, although a triple threat tag team match with tornado rules, might work in their favour. They don't necessarily have to pin or submit either Brother of Destruction, a feat in its own right. But for example, if Scotty 2 can hit the Worm Just Incredible and get the pin like he did against Christian on SmackDown, that will be enough for Too Cool to challenge the Dudley Boys for the tag team titles at Caesar's Palace. The Undertaker and Kane have to be on the same page if they're going to challenge for the tag team titles, but it seems the unpredictable nature of this match is only exceeded by the unpredictable partnership between the Brothers of Destruction. The American Badass and the Big Red Machine not only have their issues with X Factor and Edge and Christian, but they're also at loggerheads with each other. If they can both channel their anger to both Too Cool and X Factor in a few moments, then the victory is theirs for the taking. If the referee had a tough job dealing with the 6-man tag team hardcore match earlier, then he's not going to find this match any easier, although he'd probably be thankful that at least the pinfall or submission has to take place in the ring. But he's still going to need eyes in the back of his head, as all 6 participants are legal in this match. Even Jim Ross confesses, and even apologises to the audience watching, that he may have a tough job keeping up with this match, until Paul Heyman chimes in and tells the Oklahoman that that's why Paul Heyman is there, to provide colour commentary with an expert analysis. Jim Ross doesn't necessarily agree with the expert analysis part, but he does begrudgingly acknowledge that having the former owner of ECW sat down with him on commentary is helpful. Kane and The Undertaker look to prove why they are the big dogs that run the yard. The Big Red Machine easily breaking free of a Just Incredible grapple from behind, and then clotheslining the former ECW alumnus out of the ring. Grandmaster Sexay tries the same thing, and he's only met with a Kane running DDT for his troubles. Undertaker dispatches of X-Pac with a power slam. Watching this match is like playing a board game, using a mallet to take out the opposition. And there's no surprising for guessing who are the players in this match, or rather the mallets, thus far. X-Factor and Too Cool are taking it in turns to get in the ring and take out the Brothers of Destruction, only to be taken out themselves. If the strategy of the American Badass and the Big Red Machine was indeed to channel their frustrations and therefore opponents, then it's clearly having the desired effect. The Undertaker is the dead man Kane knew he could be. Kane is the big red monster the Undertaker knew he could be. The dead man Irish whips Grandmaster Sexay into one corner, whilst the Big Red Machine hits X-Pac, who snake eyes in another corner. The Undertaker clotheslines Sexay in that corner, who drops to the mat in a heap. Kane drives X-Pac into the mat, lifting up his former tag partner, using the ropes in the adjacent corner. The dead man takes out Just Incredible with a pile driver, as Kane goes for the pin on Sexay. Just as well that Sexay's partner Scotty was on hand to break up the pin, because that could well have been enough. The pinfall attempt is immediately followed by Just Incredible hitting a DDT of his own on The Undertaker, and he goes for the pin. But thankfully for the dead man, Kane is on hand to break up the pinfall. The dead man tries to get back in the match, but he has to leave the ring to compose himself. Meanwhile, Kane continues his domination by getting revenge on Just Incredible. The Big Red Monster signals that the end is near as he cuts his throat, but the former ECW champion is up and has the audacity to hit Kane with a tombstone piledriver. And if that wasn't shocking enough, Grandmaster Sexay is laying out the dead man with a steel chair at ringside. Not Jim Ross, nor Paul Heyman expected anything like this. It seems the trajectory has completely changed. This match is surely anyone's for the taking. An Irish whip is prevented, leading to Kane driving the knee into the gut of one half of Too Cool. The Undertaker is still lying out at ringside, whilst X-Pac deals with Scotty's partner. But a Kane Irish whip is then reversed by Scotty, using Kane's own strength against him and sending the Big Red Machine over the top rope. X-Pac sees the opportunity to strike on an unsuspecting Scotty, and he goes for a dropkick, but Scotty manages to kick out at 2. A hard right hand from Grandmaster Sexay and X-Pac leads to a cover, but The Undertaker is back up to prevent a 3 count. He may be the dead man, but he's suddenly come alive, as he hits the last ride and Just Incredible, and wisely breaks up an X-Pac rear naked choke and Scotty, rather than going for the pinfall and risking a submission victory for X-Factor. The Undertaker and Grandmaster Sexay are dealing with the former European champion in the ring, whilst Kane is back up, picks up Just Incredible, Irish whips Justin into the corner, and then picks him up for a hard scoop slam. Scotty's now back in the ring, with all 6 superstars battling with each other. You just gotta know, Paul, next pinfall or submission is sure enough to clinch it for one of these 3 teams, says Jim Ross. X-Pac is teetering on the ropes as the American Badass sees a chance to send X-Factor's leader over the top rope with a clothesline. Kane comes charging round the corner to pick up X-Pac for a backdrop, as the Undertaker chokeslams Scotty at ringside near the entrance ramp. Hey Wayne, what's that? Asks Jim Ross, as music hits a Titantron. The Undertaker and Kane are distracted as it's revealed to be Christian on stage, taunting the Brothers of Destruction. Kane chases after Christian up the entrance ramp as the Undertaker continues to work on Scotty with a chair at ringside, but he's not seen X-Pac get in the ring, and together with Just Incredible, they stalk their prey in the form of Grandmaster Sexay as the two combine to hit as Paul Heyman screams, X marks the spot! X-Pac goes for the cover. This could have been anybody's victory in this match, but it seems Christian wanted to make absolutely sure that at least one of the losing tag teams were the Brothers of Destruction. Edge dared Christian to make a name for himself tonight, and that's exactly what he's done, because the Undertaker and Kane have lost the chance to challenge for the tag team titles at Fully Loaded. And maybe this was sweet revenge for Christian, when Kane's interference cost Christian the 6-man tag team match 4 days ago. Jim Ross tells Paul Heyman that if Christian getting his revenge on Kane tonight was sweet, he wouldn't want to imagine how sour the comeuppance for Christian will be. Meanwhile, the match graphic makes it official. X-Factor's victory tonight means they will go to Fully Loaded and challenge the Dudley Boys for the WWF Tag Team titles. Some may argue that X-Pac and Just Incredible haven't had their fair chance at a rematch. This was supposed to be the match at the King of the Ring, until the team of Kane and Eddie Guerrero was added late into that tag team title match last month. But now X-Factor finally get their long-awaited chance. Can they avenge the tag team turmoil defeat at Queen's request and beat the Dudley Boys to once again become tag team champions in Las Vegas? We'll find out the answer in less than a week. Grandmaster Sexay and Scotty Tawati reunite with Rikishi following a triple threat tag team defeat. Both seem to be in good spirits, despite the fact that they will not be going to Fully Loaded to challenge the Dudley Boys for the tag team titles. Rikishi wonders what their deal is. What's up with you two? You're acting like you won that match. Sexay responds, Oh yeah, we got our asses handed to us, dog, but we're here to tell the tale. I just got double super kicked and my face is still on my body, oh yeah. Scotty laughs at Sexay's comments and adds to the self-deprecation. Yeah, and I got my ass handed to me by the dead man, and yet I'm still alive. High five, Sexay! Sexay high-fives Scotty as Rikishi shakes his head. But the laughter and self-deprecation are gone when Test meets with the trio. Look, Rikishi, I'm not here to cause any more problems. We've got issues of our own we need to resolve. Now, I know I'm the special referee tonight, but don't worry. I'll make sure Edge gets what's coming to him, and then after, we can pick up from where we left off in our next Intercontinental Championship match. But Rikishi doesn't say anything back to Test, he just stares at him. The four are then interrupted by the chairman, as Vince McMahon comes into camera shot. Intercontinental title match, eh? With Test as special guest referee. What a match that will be! A great match, with a referee calling it the way he should, right down the middle. And that's what I expect from you, Test, calling it right down the middle. You do your job the way you should, and there should be no problems tonight, okay? Vince walks off as the four watch him leave. Test and Rikishi stare at each other, as Test leaves in the other direction, as Sue could tell Rikishi that he's got this Intercontinental title match in the bag. The People's Champion makes his way down to the ring. It seems The Rock has some thoughts of his own he'd like to share with Oregon ahead of tonight's 6-man tag team match, as well as the rematch from WrestleMania 17, as the Great One challenges Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship at Fully Loaded. The Rock grabs the mic and talks to the crowd. Finally, The Rock has come back to Corvallis! And in 6 days' time, 6 days, not 1, not 2, not 3, 6 days' time, Stone Cold Steve Austin What you are failing to realise is that at Fully Loaded, it's not The Rock taking on a Texas rattlesnake in Las Vegas. No, it's you, Stone Cold Steve Austin, going one-on-one with a great one. But before The Rock talks about how he's going to leave Las Vegas as WWF Champion, The Rock wants to talk about tonight. 6-man tag team match, main event, Y2J, Latino Heat, and the People's Champion, taking on Haku, Big Show, and William Regal. And speaking of William Regal, the WWF's former commissioner is revealed to be the man behind the black mask on SmackDown. And your reasoning for cheap-shotting The Rock, for blindsiding a Brahma Bull and attacking Taker, Eddie and Jericho is because you wanted attention? William Regal, if it's attention that you wanted, then all you had to do was ask. Because William Regal, the Great One, is going to give you all the attention you ever need. And William, your timing couldn't have been better in tonight's 6-man tag team match right here on the campus of Oregon State University. Except tonight, the students of Corvallis will not be getting an education. No. Tonight, you, Regal, Big Show, Haku, you're the ones who will be getting education free of charge. And your tutor is Mr. Rock. Big Show, tonight you get Rock Bottom 101. Haku, tonight you get People's Elbow $5.99. And as for you, Regal, not only do you get a free education lesson, but tonight you graduate with honours as The Rock is going to check you directly into the SmackDown Hotel. Whoa. One more thing, William. You talk about worrying for the future of America. Well, let The Rock tell you the future is right here in Oregon, and the future is bright. So you bring your education, your Robin Hood, your King Arthur, your Sherlock Holmes, your James Bond. Hell, you even bring that young whippersnapper Harry Potter as he watches The Rock magically wallop you and your candy bomb all over Corvallis. Well, he's The Rock, Paul, but no doubt tonight The Rock is on a roll, says Jim Ross to Paul Heyman. Heyman absolutely agrees, as the People's Champion continues. Now, on to you, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Rock has waited nearly 4 months to get payback, and in 6 days, the Great One will have his revenge. Stone Cold, The Rock has seen you moping in the back. The Rock has heard you bitch, moan, and complain about how you're going to get screwed out of holding the WWF Championship at any opportunity. How Linda is conspiring against you. How Vince is conspiring against you. Hell, you even think your own wife, Deborah, is conspiring against you. And seeing as we're here on the campus of Oregon State University, and the People's Champion is giving out education for free, Stone Cold, you walk down the People's Ramp. You get in the People's Ring so you can receive your free lesson with The Rock. But this will not be a lesson in education, Austin. No. You can call this particular lesson Rock Therapy. So Stone Cold, The Rock doesn't want to wait 6 days of Fully Loaded. The Rock doesn't even want to wait another 6 seconds. So Stone Cold Steve Austin, come on out now and receive your free therapy session with The Rock. Well, says Jim Ross, I'm not too sure if Austin's going to respond. How's that? Glass shatters as out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. The WWF Champion has shown up tonight, which Jim Ross didn't expect to happen. Supposedly, Austin and Vince have somewhat mended fences following a Texas rattlesnake hitting the Stone Cold Stunner on the chairman at the conclusion of last week's Raw. But he's not exactly endeared himself to the few allies he has, if indeed he has any left. The 2-man power trip of Austin and Triple H is over, following Stone Cold Steve Austin accidentally costing the game the Intercontinental Championship at King of the Ring. And as for Deborah, Austin implying that his wife could be a part of a conspiracy to screw Stone Cold out of the WWF Championship hasn't done himself any favours. The WWF Champion grabs the mic and speaks. If there's one thing I can't stand, it's a smart-ass teacher, says Stone Cold to The Rock. You coming out here and you flapping your gums about giving out free lessons and therapy? Well, Rocky, old Stone Cold doesn't need therapy from you. Old Stone Cold has a session in self-help, which also serves as a lesson for you, and that is known as Stone Cold Stunner 316. And when that session is over, Rock, it's you looking at the lights in Vegas, and Austin leaving Fully Loaded as WWF Champion. And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so. Paul Heyman is waiting for a brawl to ensue. Oh, this is so tense, JR. These two don't need therapy. They're looking like they're about to go to war. You see, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock will admit to having learned Stone Cold Stunner 316 on multiple occasions. But let the Great One remind you of another lesson The Rock has also learned, and that lesson is kick out of the Stone Cold Stunner 316. But Austin, The Rock didn't call you out for a fight right now. No. The Rock called you out to ease the tension, to calm the nerves. And as the People's Champion, it is indeed The Rock's duty to call this free session Rock Therapy. Now listen carefully, Stone Cold. The Rock's free therapy session to you is simply this. Stay healthy. You see, Austin, how Fully Loaded, The Rock knows Vince isn't conspiring against you. Triple H isn't conspiring against you. Hell, even Deborah isn't conspiring against you. So stop the worrying, stop the moaning, stop the whining, stop the complaining, stop the bitching. And know this, that the only threat to your World Wrestling Federation Championship is the man standing from across you in the ring. And Stone Cold, The Rock, has guaranteed he's made the promise of the promise of the promise that he will walk into Fully Loaded and leave as WWF Champion. So Austin, The Rock says this, mend your fences with Vince, go play games with Triple H, make love to Deborah, because The Rock guarantees you, Austin, to the fans of Corvallis and to the millions and millions watching at home, that you're looking at the next WWF Champion. And Austin, that's the bottom line, because the Great One said so. Brad, did The Rock just use Stone Cold Steve Austin's phrase against him? Jim Ross and Paul Heyman discuss the 10 showdown between the challenger and champion at Caesar's Palace, as Heyman tells JR that The Rock told Austin to stay healthy, which is what Austin said to The Rock before their title match at WrestleMania. This wasn't Rock therapy, this was Rock mind games. And so by Paul Heyman's assessment, it's to wonder how these two haven't come to blows just now. Rock celebrates as he walks up the ramp, and Stone Cold stays in the ring and continues to snarl at the Great One as he leaves. The match graphic is shown to remind the viewers of the WWF title match in 6 days' time, which allows Paul Heyman more time to speculate on what he feels are Rock mind games. But the former ECW owner tells Jim Ross that Rock's own words could come to bite him on his candy ass. If indeed Rock therapy has served as a purpose to stop Austin worrying, and Stone Cold starting to work together with Vince and Triple H again, if that's the case, we're looking at WrestleMania 17, Part 2. Jim Ross scoffs at the idea that Austin, Triple H and Vince are all of a sudden going to be on the same page after Rock's promo. Now you're the one that sounds like a conspiracy theorist. Get real, Paul! The only title match of the night is about to take place in a few moments, as Rikishi defends his Intercontinental Championship against Edge. But the person coming down to the ring now is not Rikishi, nor Edge, it's Test, and he's dressed in black and white, as the 6'7" Canadian has been appointed the special guest referee in this upcoming match. Test has had his issues with both champion and challenger, and although he might have given the impression that he's willing to put his problems aside with Rikishi so he can have his Intercontinental title rematch, maybe for Fully Loaded, Test also has to contend that the German Vince McMahon is expecting the young man from Toronto to call this match the way it should be called, right down the middle.
You think you know me,
Speaking of young men from Toronto, another superstar that fits that demographic has the chance to become the new Intercontinental Champion tonight. But Edge might want to consider his possible fear and loathing in Las Vegas in 6 days' time, as, given his past history with Test, the chances of Edge being the Intercontinental Champion come Fully Loaded looks doubtful. The former Tag Team Champion screwed the special guest referee out of becoming Intercontinental Champion himself last week on Raw, and then Edge decided to get into a fight with what was his tag team partner Test on SmackDown in a 6-man tag team match 4 days ago. Edge may be a young Canadian too, but Paul Heyman thinks Edge wishes his nationality was Irish right now, because if it's anything that Edge needs for tonight and for heading to Fully Loaded as a new Intercontinental Champion, it's luck. Luck may be a lady, because he certainly isn't a £420 Samoan coming into tonight's title match. Okay, Rikishi may still be Intercontinental Champion at this moment in time, and sure, he won the gold in spectacular fashion 2 weeks ago, but since he's held that title, he's defended the IC strap twice, and his record is 0 for 2. He remains champion as a result of both matches ending in disqualification against him. This will be Rikishi's 3rd title defence right now, so he'll be hoping that another popular phrase comes true tonight: 3rd time lucky. The Samoan picks up the Canadian for a scoop slam as the Zebra Stripe man watches on, but Edge sees Rikishi coming and kicks him in the head, having the time to get off the mat, but Rikishi's too strong to grapple with. The force of the push allows the champion to hit the challenger with a clothesline. First test for Test, a special guest referee, who almost makes it to the count of 3 in the first pinfall attempt. Heyman and JR acknowledge a fair count by the fair-haired Canadian. Test sees the submission by Rikishi on Edge and is in the right position to call for the tap out if necessary, but Edge gets out of the move with a jawbreaker. Again, grappling with the girth of Rikishi is like trying to beat the house, and the house always wins. Edge is shoulder blocked and rolls out of the ring. The next test for Test as referee is a count out at ringside as the IC champion heads to ringside near the commentary table and picks up his opponent to hit snake eyes onto the hardest part of the ring. The special guest referee has finally started counting. Jim Ross and Paul Heyman speculating if the late count was deliberate, whether to benefit champion or challenger. The count continues as Rikishi picks Edge up to hit a suplex in the ground outside. Test then decides to leave the ring and tell the Samoan to bring the other Canadian back into the ring. Rikishi isn't too pleased with the request, but he acquiesces. The referee's not pleased either, but his issues lie with Edge after he shoulder tackles Rikishi on the ring apron to the ground. It's not quite the riot act Edge is receiving, but it's a firm warning. The champion is back up as Rikishi lays in the attacks, leading to a pile driver. Test comes down for the pinfall and makes the count, but Edge manages to kick out at 1. The champion is now issuing a fair warning to the referee, but Jim Ross is sure the count wasn't slow. The Samoa champion stares at the zebra-dressed Canadian and starts flexing. Edge hits Rikishi from the back with a right hand and brings him down to the mat for a grounding foot facelock. Test is right there, ready to ring the bell if the champion should submit, but he waves his arms as Rikishi is able to wrestle out with a hold. Both competitors are keeping Test busy, and the former European and Tag Team Champion is holding his own as a referee. A hard scoop slam from Rikishi leads to another pinfall. Again, another 1 count, but again, another consistent count, thinks Jim Ross. Test is certainly on top of things here. The champion then wrenches at the head of Edge, sitting on the ground, and then slams him on the mat. But Edge manages to avoid a foot stomp getting up, kick Rikishi in the gut, and hit the execution. Big Test here, but the referee doesn't even make the count. He's saying it's a rope break, as the champion's foot was under the ropes. Was that the right call? Edge hits a neckbreaker on Rikishi and then throws the champion out of the ring. He's wanting to know why Test didn't make the count, because surely that would have been 3, and we'd be looking at a new Intercontinental Champion, thinks Paul Heyman. Test is telling Edge that he couldn't have counted because of the rope break, and he's also telling Edge not to get out of the ring so he can make the count out. But the challenger for the Intercontinental title is better known for his offbeat shenanigans rather than listening to the rules, as he attacks the champion at ringside. Test is urging him to get both back in the ring. Rikishi then gets a hold of Edge and throws him into the steel steps before getting back into the ring himself. It looks like the special guest referee is starting to lose control as well as lose patience, as he's now telling the champion to stay in the ring. Edge slides back in and hits a dropkick, but it has little effect on the champion, who throws Edge back out of the ring again and shoulder tackles Edge to the outside. Test is again telling Rikishi not to leave the ring, but Rikishi kicks the referee in the gut. Edge rolls back in the ring and hits a knee to the face of the Samoan. Test sees the pin and he's going for the count. Oh no, this could be it. A 1 count, a 2 count, Wait a minute. Test has rung for the bell. Is that a 3 count? Can we just witness the new Intercontinental Champion? No, it's not a 3 count. It's a disqualification. Rikishi kicked me in the gut. You don't put your hands on the referee, and therefore it's a DQ, not a pinfall, Test tells the announcer, who then makes it known that the winner of this match as a result of the disqualification is Edge. But because of the DQ, still Intercontinental Champion, it's Rikishi. Oh my, says Jim Ross. You talk about controversy. Test pulling a stellar performance as referee, but hey, wait! Edge argues with Test about the result in the ring, and Test has had enough. He's taken off the stripes. He's gone down to ringside and gets back in the ring with a chair, and he hits Edge right in the face. What the hell is he doing? Screams Paul Heyman. Talk about an unravelling. Test managed to contain most of this match as referee, but in the end he couldn't control the two competitors. The 6'7" Canadian walks off as Edge and Rikishi lie in the middle of the ring. The announcements just keep on coming. Fully Loaded is in 6 days' time, with a 7-match card that has now become 8 matches, as the graphic indicates that there will be a triple threat match for Rikishi's Intercontinental Championship, and his opponents are both Test and Edge. Both contenders feel they will deserve a title rematch following the way their respective singles title matches have ended, both winning but by disqualification. But this is a triple threat match, and therefore there will be no disqualifications in this match setup. If the Samoan fails to get the pin or submission in Las Vegas, he will not only lose the match, but this time he will lose the Intercontinental Championship in the process. And what's more, Rikishi doesn't have to be the one being pinned or submitted to lose the gold. It's do or die for the Samoan, as he has under a week to prepare for 2 opponents at the same time, in less than a week's time, at Fully Loaded. Undertaker and Kane are continuing to argue in the back after their triple threat tag team defeat. Damn it, brother! You got distracted by that young punk Christian, and then you decide to give chase. Did you not see the pinfall take place in the middle of the ring? That's why we're not going to Las Vegas. But Kane isn't happy with Undertaker's reasoning, and he counters the dead man's argument.
Well, if the pinfall took place in the middle of the ring, where were you so intent on being up Scotty at ringside and not being in the ring yourself?
Round the corner is Christian, listening and laughing at the misfortune of the Brothers of Destruction, when Edge comes in, still holding his head after the chair shot. Hey Christian, did you see... Shh, listen, the Brothers are about to reek of implosion. Oh, well, that's good, Christian, but did you see what Test did to me with that chair? What a reekazoid! Christian turns round to Edge, seemingly annoyed with the interruption by his own brother, but the younger of the two has some words of encouragement for the older brother. Look, Edge, you may have got brain scrambleosity because of that big oaf Test, but still, you've got a chance to become Intercontinental Champion. Act Fully Loaded because you're in the triple threat match. Edge? Edge looks in disbelief, not because that he has another chance to become Intercontinental Champion, but with the fact that the Brothers of Destruction are standing behind Christian. Hey boys, shouts the Undertaker, as the Dead Man and the Big Red Machine attack Christian. Edge scarpers, only to run into Test, until Rikishi emerges from behind. Edge smiles as he thinks Test and Rikishi are at odds with each other, until both Test and Rikishi attack Edge. It's not ended well at all for the former 7-time tag team champions. Rikishi tells Test he'll see him at Fully Loaded and walks off. Meanwhile, William Regal looks at the damage done to Edge and Christian and says to himself, you know, if none of this would be happening on my watch if I was still Commissioner. What a shame. But Regal turns around to see the Undertaker stood behind him. Alright then, Regal, let's suppose for a moment you are Commissioner right now. What are you going to do about it? Now, Sunshine, I was only saying if I was... Regal makes a dash for it and gets out the Undertaker's way. The American Badass then walks back to Kane and says, there, brother, you see how I handled myself just now? Well, keep watching, because you ain't seen nothing yet. Taker walks off as Kane tilts his head to the side, thinking, what's the Undertaker got planned? A somber-looking Shane McMahon is in the parking lot, no doubt heading back to his limo, when Kurt Angle attacks a WCW owner from behind, using fists, chops, takedowns, and even a suplex. The Olympic gold medalist tells Shane that this is what awaits him in Las Vegas, a Caesars parking lot beatdown. Anything goes in a street fight, including the use of the shutter, the barricade, and an ambulance if one just happens to be there. Angle tells Shane to warn his WCW champion to get ready for his first WCW title defence on WWF turf, because Shane won't be in any fit state to conduct business following Fully Loaded. Back to singles action, as the rookie takes on one half of Kai and Tai in a few moments. We last saw Chris Hero on SmackDown, recovering from his match against Kane, and whilst most have perceived the newcomer to be a respectful rookie, shaking hands and paying his dues, not all have welcomed his actions. One of those superstars is the Big Boss Man, who has told Chris Hero to stop shaking hands and kick ass, rather than kiss it. Whether Hero is dismissed or heeded Bossman's advice is another matter, as now the newcomer has a chance to climb the ranks with victory here tonight. Taka Michinoku may not be known for his size, and is someone that Chris Hero shouldn't take lightly, but he has the advantage of agility and experience against his opponent. But then, his last singles match ended in defeat, and that was to Bull Nakano, so it's equally as important that Taka gain victory and climb the ranks in a few moments. Taka Michinoku clearly demonstrating why he shouldn't be taken lightly, as the former light heavyweight champion strikes first with a suplex, and with ease. He then follows up with a wrist lock arm drag after running up the ropes, demonstrating his agility. His kind Thai partner Funaki cheers on at ringside as Taka Irish whips the rookie into the corner, hits the European uppercut and then a back elbow, and then he throws Hero into the ropes, using the ropes to drive his feet into the face of the kneeling rookie. The attacks have been relentless, but it's lit a fire within the rookie, who fights back by grabbing the waist of Taka and hitting a European uppercut of his own, this time from behind. More attacks to one half of the team, known as Kai and Tai, before the newcomer Irish whips his opponent into the ropes. Elite Frog is then followed with a big boot to the face. Hero grabs the former light heavyweight champion by the legs and drives the long right leg of his own into the sternum of Taka, before deciding to walk over him, literally. Hero goes for the pinfall. It's not quite over yet though after a 2 count. Hero continues the onslaught with a running powerbomb. This forces Taka to get out of the ring and recuperate, whilst Hero acknowledges the crowd. A clever ploy by the former light heavyweight champion, who's immediately back in the ring to chop at the leg of the 6'5" newcomer and bring him down. The agility of Taka and of Hero are about to be put on display, and also give the referee a run for his money. A Taka roll-up gets a 2, it's reversed into a Hero pin, that only gets a 1. That's reversed into another Taka pin, that also only gets a 1. That's then reversed into a Hero pin, and that gets a 2. Taka manages to get out of the pinning predicament. It's now a case of blink and you'll miss it, as Taka is back up to hit a head scissors and a sunset flip. A double axe handle and punches lead to another sunset flip roll-up, but the rookie manages to kick out at 2. The running dropkick in the corner has Taka in a frenzy. He's feeling the end is in sight and ready to hit the Michinoku driver. But out comes Big Boss Man, and his presence has piqued Taka's curiosity. The referee tends to Hero as Funaki is screaming to look at what's happening to his tag partner as Bossman attacks Taka. Hero is up to hit the Hero's welcome as the Big Bossman watches from ringside as the referee counts the pinfall.
Wait, what the hell is going on here? Asks Jim Ross.
I don't know, responds Paul Heyman. The very man that told Chris Hero to stop kissing ass has assisted him in getting the victory tonight. But why? Funaki tends to Taka as Big Bossman picks up Hero and raises his arm in the air. The rookie can't believe it, but at the same time, his increasing smile will confirm that, despite the former hardcore and tag team champion telling him to stop sucking up to people. The newcomer may have just found an ally or mentor in the Big Boss Man.
Haha, I saw what you did out there to Shane. Nicely done, Kurt. Of course, Mr. McMahon. That's going to be nothing compared to what I do to Shane in the street fight at Fully Loaded. And when I get through with him, then all that leaves is the WCW champion, whoever that may be. When he comes along, I'll be the one taking the WCW championship. And then the only thing left of WCW will be the title, because it will be around the waist of your Olympic hero. Oh, it's true, Vince. It's damn true. A WWF superstar wearing WCW gold. Interesting, Kurt.
Very interesting. Both Vince and Kurt are stopped in their conversation when Stone Cold Steve Austin comes into Vince's suite. You asked to see me, but yet you've got Kurt in the room? I thought this was supposed to be a private conversation. Steve, it is. Hi, Kurt, can we catch up soon? Oh, sure, Mr. McMahon. I'll see you soon. Hey, Stone Cold, WWF Champion. Just think, after you beat The Rock and Fully Loaded, and then when I beat Shane McMahon, I get my WCW title shot, and then I beat the champion, then me and you can fight and see who the true American hero is and the true wrestling champion. What do you say? I say you're a piece of trash and have no business getting in the ring with old Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, do you mind? Go on, get. Angle wasn't expecting that response, and he isn't too happy either, but nevertheless he leaves. Alright, Vince, you wanted to see me, privately. What is it? But the two are interrupted as Triple H walks in. Austin isn't too pleased as he points at the game and looks at the chairman. Now what the hell do you call this? Look, Steve, you remember how you won that WWF Championship and the three of us disposed of The Rock? Well, if we get on the same page, then we can repeat history. We can. Oh, really? If we all get on the same page? Then if you're not hooking up with Linda anymore and listening to her stupid voice, Vince, and if you, Triple H, you're done whining about not being Intercontinental Champion at King of the Ring, or the fact that you're not facing Stone Cold for the WWF title Fully Loaded because of The Rock, then maybe, just maybe, we can work something out. The game isn't too pleased with Austin bringing up the past, but he looks like he's biting his tongue and willing to let things slide, for whatever the greater good may be. Look, Austin, let's forget King of the Ring. I'm more concentrating on tonight. It's because of people like The Rock and Chris Jericho, which is why I'm not getting a shot to begin with. And just because I can't be in that 6-man tag team main event, Vince, that doesn't mean... Yo, Vince! A shout can be heard far away until it's revealed that The Undertaker has joined the conversation. Yo, Vince! I don't take kindly to Regal's actions, not on SmackDown, and not even a few moments ago. So you better put me in that 6-man tag team match main event, or I'll make sure Regal won't be the only one losing his position of authority, if you know what I mean. What is it with you guys? Asking to be put in tonight's main event. I can't... Vince. Yes, you absolutely can. In fact, I also think you should put Undertaker in that main event. Because if you put the dead man in, that will make tonight's main event an 8-man tag team match. And that will mean Regal, Big Show and Haku will need a partner who could take out Jericho and The Rock. And Vince, that partner should be me. Both Taker and Triple H are looking at Vince to make the decision as if his life depends on it. Okay, fine. You're both in the main event. So tonight's match will now be an 8-man tag team match. Well, guess you better go and get ready. This match is coming up soon. Taker nods and walks off, but Triple H isn't leaving. Actually, this gives me an idea. Austin, we can help each other out here. Now listen. My God! The 6-man tag team main event is now an 8-man tag team match! The Oklahoman can't hide his excitement, as Triple H and The Undertaker have now been added to the match, on opposite teams. Triple H will relish being able to get his hands over the King of the World and the People's Champion in a few minutes, whilst the former Commissioner William Regal now has to confront all 4 victims of his sneak attacks as a black mask hooded figure in SmackDown. But will the American Badass be okay to wrestle again after his triple threat tag team match defeat earlier? Paul Heyman reminds Jim Ross that Haku, Big Show and William Regal have Triple H as a partner in tonight's 8-man tag team match. And fully enough, they're still looking for a partner for their 8-man tag team match to take on the Radicalz at Fully Loaded. It couldn't be Triple H, could it? Anyway, tonight's 8-man tag team match main event is about to get underway. The first participant to come down to the ring is Haku. Haku also happened to be the first partner revealed to be part of Big Show's team in the upcoming 8-man tag team match to take on the Radicalz this Sunday. The 7-foot 500-pound giant has been secretly watching the Radicalz behind the scenes these past few weeks, and it was his observations that have led Vince to believe that Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero and Saturn could have jumped ship to WCW. It turns out that wasn't the Radicalz' plan after all. Still, the chairman expects Big Show to lead his team to victory, not just for tonight, but also in the 8-man tag team match at Fully Loaded. This 8-man tag team match has been requested by the man coming down to the ring now, as, thanks to Mick Foley, the Black Mask was revealed to be William Regal on SmackDown. The supposed goodwill ambassador blames the former opponents who he attacked 4 days ago, and that they'll be facing in a few moments, for the reason why he's no longer the commissioner, and that he'll be hoping now that the WWF roster starts taking him seriously as a man with, as he says, nothing left to lose. And as a result of Regal's request, Vince has asked him to help Big Show and Haku in taking out the Radicalz when the WWF heads to Las Vegas on Sunday, a request Regal was all too willing to accept. Speaking of nothing left to lose, the game walks down to the ring. He won't be wrestling for the WWF Championship, and he's only thanks to the Undertaker's interruption a few moments ago that's allowed the Cerebral Assassin to get into tonight's match. He does have an eye to take out Chris Jericho because of Y2J's comments on Stephanie's age at the beginning of the night, and he's also looking to take out The Rock. That would be a great help for Stone Cold Steve Austin if the latter was to come true tonight. Whether the game will be doing it for the Rattlesnake or for his own nefarious ways, who's to say? Latino Heat may have lied, cheated and stolen his way to victory against the Big Show on SmackDown, but nevertheless he can claim he beat the Giant. But Eddie will be looking to get revenge on Regal as well, after the masked figure came out of nowhere to cheap shot Latino Heat 4 days ago. Victory tonight will certainly help Eddie, as he will be involved in the same match again in 6 days, only that match will feature his Radicalz teammates. Probably the biggest thorn in William Regal's role as commissioner has been the man coming down to the ring. The two have pretty much feuded during the Goodwill Ambassador's tenure, with Jericho beating the former European champion on multiple occasions, even upstaging Regal on his own turf back in June. The self-proclaimed King of the World will have to keep an eye out for Triple H, who no doubt will be gunning for this year's King of the Ring winner after Jericho's comments about Stephanie and her hair turning grey. Hell hath no fury, like a scorned American badass. The Undertaker may have already wrestled tonight, and sadly because of interference, he and his brother Kane will not be going to Fully Loaded to challenge for the tag team titles. Whilst he continues to have his issues with the Big Red Machine, Regal's observations about Taker and Kane's attacking Christian would have happened on his watch as commissioner has only enraged the dead man. But to be honest, he'd be quite happy to get his hands on and take out his frustrations on any one of his opponents in a few minutes. The People's Champion is 6 days away from going to Caesar's Palace and getting his revenge when he takes on Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship. But tonight, The Rock will also be looking to get his revenge on William Regal, following the former commissioner's attack as the Black Mask on the Great One 4 days ago. And Paul Heyman reminds Jim Ross and the audience that early in the night, The Rock told Stone Cold Steve Austin to stay healthy, in reference to their title match on Sunday. But the former ECW owner feels that The Rock shouldn't be concerned with Austin's health right about now. He should be concerned with his own health, coming into tonight's 8-man tag team match. Haku and Guerrero to start things off in tonight's main event. Latino Heat laying in the punches and chops before going for the abdominal stretch, but Tongan easily gets out of the hold. A one-time King of the Ring winner himself, Haku demonstrates his incredible power by picking up Latino Heat with a military press, sending his opponent crashing to the mat. It's an impressive feat of strength, so much so that his teammates ask him to do the same again, and the Tongan obliges. It's just too easy. Eddie doesn't look too good in the opening moments, and Haku goes for a pin. Looks of concern from Guerrero's teammates, but thankfully Eddie is able to kick out at 1. Picking his opponent up and dropping him face first into the knee of the Tongan, Haku then tags in the Big Show, who'll be looking to avenge his defeat to Latino Heat on SmackDown. The Giant wastes no time by taking out the former Intercontinental Champion with a clothesline, and then another clothesline. Big Show sees the concern of The Rock at ringside and decides to bring the Grey One into the ring, throwing him over the top rope. But he doesn't see the tag from Guerrero to Undertaker, who responds with a jumping clothesline as The Rock tries to get back up. Rock's revenge is short on Big Show, as the Giant counters with a dragon screw and then follows up with a clothesline to the dead man. The Giant has done a great job of taking out The Undertaker and The Rock at the same time, thinks Paul Heyman, as Big Show throws the Brahma Bull across the ring, and then Irish whips the dead man. A drop down then leads to the former WWF Champion hitting the big boot. Guerrero, Jericho and The Rock look on, as Big Show goes for the pin, but thankfully just the two, despite the dominant performance. The 7-foot 500-pound monster hasn't stopped yet. He drives Undertaker's face into his knees, and then throws the American Badass into the corner of his teammates. Taker's in trouble here. He's now having to contend not with a one-on-one assault, but a 4-on-1 assault. More punches from Big Show in the corner, but Taker tries to get out of the way, and yet another clothesline from the Giant. Not even an irate dead man can stop the onslaught of the Big Show. The Undertaker tries to fight back, but the Giant seems to have a counter for everything. Finally, the adrenaline's starting to get the better of the American Badass, and he's soon back up to take the fight to his opponent with rights and lefts. Big Show is now the one reeling, as Taker finishes off the comeback with a running DDT, and The Rock comes into the ring after the tag, going straight to stomp on the grounded Big Show. Slight looks of concern on the faces of Regal, Haku and Triple H, as the most electrifying man in sports entertainment goes for a cover, but only gets a counter too. More continued foot stomps in the Big Show, before the Great One Irish whips his opponent into the corner and starts with the right hands. But the third right hand is blocked, and the Giant counters with a big right hand of his own. Big Show then shows Haku what he can do with his strength, as he picks up the Rock and drops him down with a military press slam. The Great One lies on the mat as the 7-foot Giant tags in William Regal. The Goodwill Ambassador comes in to whip Rock into the corner. A right hand is then followed by the former commissioner driving the shoulder into the gut of the Great One. But the Rock is up to prevent any further attacks with his right boot, and he explodes out of the corner with a jumping clothesline. Another clothesline by the People's Champion leads The Rock to tagging in this year's King of the Ring winner, but Chris Jericho walks into a Regal DDT, which is followed by a low dropkick. Y2J is in trouble already, as he's near the corner of Regal's teammates. The Goodwill Ambassador drives the back of Jericho's head into the mat. Triple H is demanding a tag so he can have his revenge on Jericho, as Regal drives a knee to the right arm of the self-proclaimed King of the World, before he accepts the tag to the game. The Cerebral Assassin is in and hits a low dropkick to his opponent, but an Irish whip is countered as Jericho kicks at the back of Triple H's right leg. An Irish whip by Jericho is followed by a drop down and then an overhead belly to belly. So much for the game trying to get his revenge, as Y2J is taking a fight to Triple H. Right hands to the back of the head of Triple H is followed by an inverted suplex. A chance for Jericho to grab the victory as he goes for the pin. Triple H's team look on nervously, but the Cerebral Assassin kicks out at 2. One final foot stomp on the game's right hand before Jericho makes a tag to Guerrero. Latino Heat then Irish whips Triple H into the ropes. A leapfrog then leads to a single leg dropkick. The game's teammates are concerned it's game over as they're demanding a tag, but a pinfall only makes a 1 count. Latino Heat continues, driving a knee into the face of the game, followed by a foot stomp of his own, this time to the left arm of Triple H. Heyman feels the former WWF Champion needs to make a tag and quick. Things are made worse when Eddie tries to Irish whip his opponent into the corner of Guerrero's teammates, but Triple H reverses the whip. He clotheslines his opponent in the corner as Eddie falls down in a heap, and then drives a shoulder into The Undertaker, sending the American Badass from the ring apron to ringside, before jumping right elbow and Eddie leads to the game finally making a tag to Big Show. The Giant takes out Eddie, but his attempt to provoke the Great One backfires, and this allows Eddie Guerrero to roll Big Show up from behind. "Oh my, what great revenge this will be," says Jim Ross, but a schoolboy pin attempt only makes a 2 count. A Guerrero uppercut sends Big Show down again, but the Giant is back up and grabs the throat of Eddie. Big Show is looking for the choke slam on his opponent, and it connects. The referee goes for the pin. This could be over, but the Undertaker is in the ring to prevent the 3 count, no doubt avenging the attack by Big Show to TAKA a few moments ago. The Giant crawls to make the tag to Haku as Eddie is back up, and it's Guerrero who manages to hit a neckbreaker on the Tongan, but the Big Show is still in the ring, and Latino Heat grabs the head of the Giant for a snapdown takedown. The inadvertent distraction may have worked, as Haku responds with a sidewalk slam to Eddie. Haku picks up his opponent, and then Irish whips Latino Heat into the corner of Haku's teammates. This could be trouble for Eddie, but he manages to elbow his way out of trouble when Haku charges at him, Guerrero responding with a head scissors to get out of the way of Haku's teammates. He runs back to his corner to tag in Chris Jericho, but the Tongan is up and throws Jericho seemingly halfway across the ring before laying in the foot stomps. Haku then runs into the corner of his teammates and tags in Triple H, who will want to continue the attack on his rival. The game gets the better of Y2J this time as he drives Jericho's face into Triple H's knee before chopping at the back of the leg of Jericho. Triple H goes for the pin, but only a 2 count. The game wraps his arms around Jericho's waist, perhaps looking for the patented AA spine buster, but Jericho breaks free and responds by throwing the game into the corner of Jericho's teammates. The Ayatollah of Rock and Roller has Triple H right where he wants him, in trouble, but after the onslaught in the corner, a spinning heel kick is dodged by the game, eventually breaking free of trouble and then seemingly tagging Eddie at ringside. A right-handed Latino Heat teeters on the ring apron before the game goes outside to drive Guerrero's back into the hardest part of the ring. The Rock's at ringside to bring it, but it's Triple H bringing it to the Great One. Meanwhile, Jericho is back up in the ring, sizes his opponent, and launches himself over the top rope to take out the Cerebral Assassin. The referee's counting the 2 out at ringside, but the self-proclaimed King of the World has an Irish whip reversed by Triple H. Jericho's still out at ringside, whilst the game gets back in the ring. It's starting to get frantic now. Y2J's forearm smash to the game leads the pair to tagging Guerrero and William Regal respectively. Eddie goes for senton splash on Triple H before responding with a missile dropkick to the former commissioner. Guerrero goes for the cover, but it's Big Show making a save. The double axe handle breakup has taken out the referee in the process, as Big Show attacks Guerrero with right and left hands. Regal decides to cheap shot The Rock. The referee's back up and demands the Giant get out of the ring, as the Goodwill Ambassador takes Guerrero out by attacking the leg. Regal decides he'll tag Big Show back in anyway, but The Rock comes charging at Regal for his cheap shot attempt. He can only get 1 shot in as he's disposed of by the Big Show, who then charges at Eddie with a clothesline. Y2J comes in to wrench to the arm of the Giant, leading to Triple H coming in and attacking Y2J. Oh, it's getting fast and furious now. Big Show counters a possible sit-out crucifix powerbomb by Guerrero and responds with a final cut. The People's Champion's at ringside and he grabs at the legs of the former commissioner before The Rock lays a smackdown with a DDT. Haku has left the ring apron and he runs around the ring to attack the American Badass. "Hey Wade, that's Raven!" screams Jim Ross. The referee's out at ringside as Raven slides into the ring, picks up Eddie Guerrero and hits the even floor DDT, the Raven effect. Big Show raises his arm in celebration even before victory is certain. Is Raven the 4th man? The referee's at ringside as he watches Triple H hit the pedigree in Chris Jericho. Sweet revenge for earlier tonight. Meanwhile back in the ring, Big Show grabs at the throat of Eddie Guerrero again and hits another chokeslam. The referee comes back in and makes the count. What the hell just happened? Why do Raven attack Guerrero? What's going on here? Jim Ross is demanding answers. Why has the former ECW champion interfered in this match? Speaking of ECW, the former owner doesn't have any ideas either. But looking at the way Big Show and Raven are celebrating together, one has to believe Raven will be the 4th man to take on the Radicalz in the 8-man tag team match at Fully Loaded. The Rock has seen what's just transpired at ringside and slides back into clothesline Raven out of the ring. He turns his attention to Big Show, hitting the jumping clothesline, managing to take the Giant off his feet. He stalks his opponent and hits Rock Bottom 101, says Jim Ross. TAKA throws Haku at ringside back into the ring and The Rock throws him into the ropes, leading to a spine buster. It's that time again to hit the most electrifying move on the campus of Oregon State University. The Rock takes off his left elbow pad and runs the ropes. People's Elbow 599! People's Elbow 599! It seems when it comes to the Great One's promo and Stone Cold earlier in the night, both Paul Heyman and Jim Ross have taken Mr. Rock's lessons on board. Triple H, who had been dealing with Y2J at ringside, slides back into the ring and hits the pedigree in The Rock, a small measure of revenge for last Thursday's defeat. The Undertaker is back in the ring and he attacks again with left and right punches. Oh, this is relentless. Now William Regal's back up. The former commissioner slides in the ring and helps Triple H attack the Undertaker. The rest of the Radicalz not involved in the match. Benoit, Malenko and Saturn are here. The Crippler takes out the game with a belly to belly. Malenko takes out Regal with a clothesline and a goodwill ambassador. He rolls out of the ring. Saturn is in and he's ready to hit the long-standing suplex in Triple H. Not so fast though. Glass shatters and out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin. Triple H manages to get out the suplex and hit the pedigree in Saturn. Big Show is back in the ring and he hits the chokeslam on Malenko. This leads the Texas Rattlesnake to come in and hit the Stone Cold Stunner and Chris Benoit. "By God, the carnage," says Jim Ross, and it's not ended yet. Triple H has gone out of the ring and has pretty much fed the Rock to Austin by throwing the Great One back into the ring. Austin and Triple H smile at each other as the WWF Champion sizes up his opponent for Fully Loaded. The Rock gets up and Austin hits the Stone Cold Stunner. A pile of bodies are being left in the aftermath of this match. Vince McMahon comes down to the ring and marvels at the destruction. Meanwhile, Triple H grabs the mic and speaks.
All I've been hearing lately is people talking about Fully Loaded. People talking about Las Vegas. People talking about feeling lucky. But let's get one thing straight, you brainless morons. The only way you get to feel lucky is by taking part. And the only way you take part is by playing the game. But get a good look at this picture. Take a good look at these so-called players.
Triple H is referring to the Radicalz, Jericho and The Rock, all lying outside the ring.
Do you call that lucky? Do these guys look lucky to you? You see, what you people fail to realise is, it's one thing to play the game, it's a whole other thing to take on the house. And surely you jackasses aren't that stupid to recognise who is the house and who are the gamblers. Just like these idiots lying around the ring, they realise that when it comes to the house, they have no chance in hell. Radicalz, you claim not to be with WCW and that you're the WWF's finest? Jericho, you call yourself king of the world? Well, as far as your associations with WCW in the past go, including you, Jericho, you're gonna lay all your cards on the table. Because they're Fully Loaded, the 8-man tag team match, well, we just upped the ante to a 10-man tag team match. Yes, a 10-man tag team match, and it will be elimination rules. You, Jericho, you will now team with the Radicalz, Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero, and Saturn. And your opponents shall be Big Show, Regal, Haku, Raven, and me. You guys have no choice but to go all in with your bets, and you better have a game plan ready for the house like Fully Loaded, because if you lose, then Jericho, Radicalz, you're fired. Are you kidding me? Says Jim Ross. This is totally unfair. The house has stacked the deck against Jericho and the Radicalz.
Triple H walks over to where The Rock is laying on the ground.
And as far as for you, Grade 1, you like to constantly remind these fools that you're gonna guarantee you'll win the WWF Championship at Fully Loaded. And Rock, the house expects you to do just that. You will cash in that chip. Because Rock, if you do not beat Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF title, then you will no longer again be able to challenge for the WWF Championship. This is getting ridiculous. Who does Triple H think he is? He's not the house. He's not even the damn croupier.
Vince stands still, but smiles with glee, whilst Austin and Big Show smile looking at the carnage they've caused to their opponents.
You see, the World Wrestling Federation is like the casino. You idiots think you can come and play the game, pull in the chips, lay down the cards, pull down the lever, roll the dice. But the result is always the same. The house wins and the game ends. And Rock, Jericho, Radicalz, you will have your moment in the casino of Fully Loaded. But as far as we're concerned, the house has just 2 words for you. Game over. I don't believe this. Rock, Jericho and Radicalz have it all to do in Las Vegas.
And who does Triple H, or rather Vince McMahon, think he is? The House? They're not the damn House, they're damn criminals! The quartet of Triple H, Vince McMahon, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Big Show celebrate in the ring. The Rock, Jericho, Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko and Saturn continue to lie all over at ringside, as Jim Ross reminds the audience of the updated matches with stipulations. The 8-man tag team match has now become a 10-man tag team elimination match, where Jericho and the Radicalz have to win or else they're fired. Meanwhile, The Rock, who guarantees he will leave Las Vegas as WWF Champion, has to live up to that bet, because if he fails to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin for the title in 6 days' time, then not only will the Great One not leave Las Vegas as WWF Champion, but he will never leave an arena as WWF Champion ever again. The Raw is War logo shows up in the corner as the show comes to a close, with Paul Heyman having the last word on the WWF title match. Just like their match from WrestleMania 17, for Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, this is a match that both men have to win, and neither man can afford to lose. '92, absolutely fantastic. Yet, couldn't be happier. But at the same time, it concerns me getting such a good score with the fully loaded pay-per-view around the corner. And so, whilst I'm delighted with the show rating, I'm a bit worried about how the pay-per-view in Las Vegas is going to be anticlimactic. From a TEW perspective, I mean, that show scored fully loaded will pale in comparison to tonight's result. And there's a reason why I'm thinking this, but I'll get onto that part soon. But again, fantastic to end on such a high note tonight, especially with an 89 for the 8-man tag team main event. That's just absolutely awesome. First of all, apologies for the slight delay in getting this video out. It has taken a little longer than expected, so thank you for bearing with me. I know for a fact this will be the longest TV show episode because at this point I'm typing up the conclusion, and I still need to put the video together as it's still in 2 parts, and together that total comes to literally 2 hours. So whatever this episode will obviously be 2 hours plus. And I imagine as I publish episodes closer to the pay-per-view itself, the go-home episodes, i.e. tonight is the go-home episode of Raw is War, and the next show will be the go-home episode of SmackDown, before we go home to the finish, in this case, the fully loaded pay-per-view. So the go-home episodes for tonight and SmackDown will be longer, more for cosmetic reasons. For example, The Rock's promo on Stone Cold Steve Austin, which segues into a reminder that Austin faces Rock for the WWF title in 6 days by showing the match graphic and talking about said match. And of course, there have been several match announcements tonight, as well as changes and updates to a few of those matches following Triple H's promo at the end. Again, this all ties into the theme of Fully Loaded. I'll go into more detail about that theme on the conclusion to that pay-per-view. And as for the match updates to the conclusion of this show, I'll put them up at the end of this episode following the latest commercial. As far as tonight's show goes, I thought Endgame was quite fitting for a title, and to tie in with the theme of Fully Loaded, I was thinking, well, Las Vegas, casino, gambling, playing a game, feeling lucky and trying to beat the House, and nobody likes the House because the House always wins, and nobody likes Triple H, who's the game. So Triple H is a bad guy, so the game can be a metaphor for the House in that respect. And that's why I thought it'd be quite fitting to have Triple H cut the final promo with the match announcements that put The Rock and Chris Jericho and the Radicalz in what seems to be an unwinnable position. You may have noticed me do this with a few episodes in the past. I just think it's catchy. But then if you look at WWF's pay-per-view titles during the Attitude Era and beyond, some may sound familiar to non-wrestling fans. I imagine that obviously that's deliberate by design. I expect more of these as the shows roll on. Speaking of quite fitting, the fact that it's taken me over the Halloween period to finish this episode is also quite fitting, because the angles and matches I've set up on this show have been a logistical nightmare. For example, the 6-man tag team hardcore match, where Jacqueline covers Farouk with his feet on the ropes. Illegally, in inverted commas. And the idea of using the ropes illegally in a hardcore match just seems antithetical to what a hardcore match should be. Bear in mind as well that I also set this match to a hardcore style match in the game too. So for the TEW graphic to say that Jacqueline pinned Farouk using the ropes illegally, to me it just doesn't make sense. But I'll defer to you, the viewer, on that one and see what you think. Let me know. Another example is the promo where Shane McMahon asked the Radicalz again to join WCW and Benoit says no. You'll notice there's no Dean Malenko in that TEW graphic because Angles only allow up to 8 participants. There is somewhat of a way around that. If the participant you select has a manager, then they're also included in that segment, even though their graphic is not shown on the screen. So in this case, I think I had Dean Malenko as a manager, managing the Radicalz. So he somewhat still counts as being in that angle. There's just no picture of him, so apologies to the Iceman. I think you can have more than 8 superstars in angles on the newer game, TEW 9, so there is an argument there for playing the newer version of the game. But from what I've heard of talk of the new game, when it comes to converting your save from TEW 2020, which is what I'm playing on, to the new game TEW 9, the conversions have not exactly been smooth sailing from what I've seen. So at the moment I'm still quite content on remaining on TEW 2020 for the time being. Of course, I won't be able to convert until I start on Monday week 1 of any month really, so I still won't be able to do that until a week after the fully loaded pay-per-view, if that's what I wanted to do. But I will we'll talk about that as the time draws near. But at the moment I'm still content for TEW 2020 for the moment. So I mentioned at the beginning of the conclusion about being concerned with how well or not well the fully loaded show score will be from a TEW perspective, more so after tonight's great show result. And the reason why I say this is because of crowd burnout. Now I mentioned this point in the conclusion to the King of the Ring pay-per-view show, and I now know for a fact after looking online that crowd burnout comes into effect. Obviously you've got the option ticked as a box, but it usually happens after booking a show or multiple shows on the same day, after the 3.5 hour point. For instance, if I booked a 1 hour show and then a 3 hour show, then the last half hour of that 3 hour show will lower the score of my matches because of crowd burnout. Now in the King of the Ring episode, that show, or rather the shows, because I booked Sunday Night Heat before it, I came to a total of 5 hours. It's mad, I know. And as a result of the length of the combined total, the matches after, I think it was Triple H and Rikishi, so the Kurt Angle vs Chris Jericho King of the Ring final match, as well as the main event, which was the Fatal 4-Way match for the WWF Championship, those scores would have been better as a result if crowd burnout was not a thing, or if I'd have reduced the combined show totals to the point where the main event would then make the total of 3.5 hours. So this is what I'm worrying about when it comes to fully loaded. There'll be Sunday Night Heat followed by the fully loaded pay-per-view, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin defending the WWF title against The Rock in the main event. Now, when I've played TEW 2020 in the past, I've always had crowd burnout on as an option. It's just how the game has been at default, so it's just how I've gotten used to playing the game. But now I'm umming and ahhing about the decision. I expect the Rock vs Stone Cold's match to be, at the very lowest, a low 90s score. I don't know, maybe if I'm perhaps putting the two superstars too high in a pedestal, but we are talking about effectively the two greatest wrestlers and entertainers in this particular period. So I'm expecting no less than 90. In fact, it shouldn't even be that. It should be a little bit higher. 93 at the very lowest. But I just know if I keep crowd burnout on as an option, I'm going to be getting a disappointing mid-80s score for that match. High 80s if I'm lucky. And I'm not going to lie, I'm probably going to be a bit annoyed if that happens. So this is why I'm going to turn to you, the audience, and ask, how should I go about this? So there are 3 options to this. I could continue as normal, I maybe try to challenge myself in the sense that I'm limiting the matches and angles over the Sunday Night Heat and Fully Loaded shows so that I don't go over 3.5 hours. So Sunday Night Heat's a 1 hour show. What I would then have to do is make Fully Loaded a 2.5 hour show. So it ends on 3.5 hours in total when the main event ends between The Rock and Austin. Now I could do that, for instance, and it obviously means I don't have to turn off crowd burnout, but it will just mean less angles and promos on the Fully Loaded show, and I'm not too sure if you would enjoy that from a visual perspective, because it won't be as many visuals. It'll just be plainly matches and very little angles. So that is one option anyway. A second option could be I could turn off crowd burnout, which means I can match and angle myself to my and your heart's content, I hope, without worrying about a lesser main event score. Or the third option is, do I book Sunday Night Heat, for example, on a Saturday night? Now when it comes to WWF, some shows have been live and some shows have been taped and then show on a later day. So what I could do in this sense is, the show Sunday Night Heat is always shown on a Sunday night, but doesn't necessarily mean that Sunday Night Heat is recorded live. It could be, for instance, recorded on a Saturday night, or I think a Tuesday night when Sunday Night Heat used to follow Raw, maybe, or was it before Raw? So what I could do in this sense is book Sunday Night Heat on a Saturday, for instance, but because it's shown on TV on a Sunday, it still gives off the appearance that it's a Sunday Night Heat show, which is then followed by the Fully Loaded pay-per-view. So in that sense, even if though I'm booking the show on Saturday, it's shown on Sunday, I'm still not worrying about having to book 2 shows on the same night. So I still get that extra hour to do with what I want for Fully Loaded, so I can make that 3.5 hour show without worrying about crowd burnout, and therefore I won't have to turn off that option. So yeah, I'd be booking a 1 hour show on Saturday night. Yep, 1 hour show on a Saturday night for Sunday Night Heat, and then I could do essentially the 3.5 hours if I wanted to for Fully Loaded. Most pay-per-views are normally 3 hours in length anyway, but if I can kind of stretch it out without worrying about crowd burnout and just make it more creative with Kurt Angles, no pun intended, with angles, then I'm gonna do that because I'm getting the impression that's what you enjoy. But so those are the options anyway. Stick with how I've normally done it. Play with crowd burnout. Book Sunday Night Heat the same night. Just perhaps enjoy the challenge of booking a 1 hour show and making the pay-per-view show 2.5 hours. But it will mean less angles, and it'll just mean more matches, which might be a little bit boring from a visual perspective perhaps. The second option could be turn off crowd burnout, book Sunday Night Heat and Fully Loaded on the same night, book as many hours as possible to my heart's content. Or third option, keep crowd burnout on, but book Sunday Night Heat, which is shown on Sunday Night Heat. Book Sunday Night Heat, which is shown on a Sunday, but book it on a different day, so I'm not worrying about spending an hour on one particular show, and therefore I can have 3.5 hours at the very least to book Fully Loaded how I want it, but present it as if it's Heat followed by the pay-per-view. One thing that's definitely in common with all these 3 options is I definitely want to keep Sunday Night Heat as a show, because I just always thought it was a really good idea that you would hype up a show before the pay-per-view actually begins. Here's the matches, here's what's going to happen. But let me know your thoughts anyway, and we will take it from there. Right, that takes care of the gaming side of this episode. But before I sign off with what to expect in SmackDown, and then the usual commercial and match graphics, I just want to give out the usual thank yous. Now, I've accepted that this is probably going to be a thing every episode now. I just like the idea of giving back thanks. So you can consider this particular section a non-live YouTube equivalent of a live Twitch stream raid. Does YouTube do something like that? I've no idea at all. But I just like the idea of giving back thanks. It's like, hey, thank you so much for watching my video. Hey, have you checked out this guy? They're pretty cool too. So, anyway, first of all, thank you to everyone that watched, liked or subscribed in the last video. And obviously the bigger the thank you in relation to if you did a combination of those things. Just absolutely blown away by the response. I just hope that this and future episodes continue to live up to the last one. And as always, thank you to my brother Sam. Speaking of being a thing every episode, thank you to my brother Sam, as always, for help with especially with this episode for the intro and the discussions about ideas about creative, and also for help with the main picture of the show's thumbnail. I needed something that made Triple H look scary. Not that it looks scary enough as it is, but even scarier than what he does. So, Sam, thank you for your help there. And not that I'm going to give anything away, but as far as creative and thumbnails go, Sam's already helped me out with the next episode too. I won't spoil anything there, but I'm really looking forward to how the next one turns out, so expect more thanks in the next episode too. And one more thank you I want to give, but also a shout out to as well, is Dave Mac Wrestling. So when I started doing this series, as I'm sure some of you have figured out, my earlier videos were rather short. No visuals, I just played TEW 2020 and talked about each match and angle very briefly. Because I wanted to make this more of a storyline mod. As each show has gone on, I talk more and more extensively about matches, angles and promos as well, to the point where I'm doing terrible impressions of every single superstar. And because it was starting to get so long, I was worried that I'd perhaps lose the audience watching my videos, so that's why I decided to start including visuals from WWE 2K, as I felt it just made the episodes more engaging. So it was nice to hear from Dave when he commented on my Queen's Request pay-per-view. It was a show that I did, I think I published the episode back in June, but the show itself actually came in the month of June in the game as well. So this was my attempt of doing a UK pay-per-view, but in WWF they actually called it Insurrection, but I wanted to call mine Queen's Request and give a more Royal Regal themed pay-per-view, because it was hosted by William Regal when he was still commissioner at this point. And I like the idea of doing a royal themed pay-per-view in June and calling it Queen, using the word Queen because it set up the word King, which was the King of the Ring pay-per-view in the US. I just thought it tied in really, really well. So Dave commented on that particular episode, which had a few visuals, but not too much. And he was really complimentary, and I thought that's really nice of you. So I check his page out and I see that Dave is also a fellow TEW 2020 player. Dave is currently doing a WCW game in September of 1995, which is I believe is when the Monday Night Wars between WCW Nitro and WWF Raw started. Dave, I know much from you recently, since TEW announced its new game TEW9, so it was really good to hear from you again last week. And now that you're back and continuing with this WCW 95 mod still on TEW 2020, I'm really looking forward to where you go with it. Dave has just posted his latest show, which is the Fall Brawl pay-per-view. Really good to have you back. What I appreciate about Dave's work as well is that he will generally record his Nitro bookings, but he'll tend to play the odd Nitro and usually B TV shows, the B shows as well, but he will live stream those particular shows. So it's really good to be able to chat to Dave and talk with him whilst he's talking about his reasoning for booking certain angle and match types. And I defer to Dave's judgment when it comes to booking WCW 95. I only know the basics. Luger jumping ship. Hogan, I think, was champion. The Dungeon of Doom. The new generation is not my forte. It's something I should try and get into. But at the same time, I'm quite happy listening to you talk about it. It's something you seem to excel at. It's also cool just to chat with other TW players as well when Dave live streams. Also Ruthless Jobber, I've seen him interacting with Dave as well, so it's really good for a few to just hang out and talk about their love for booking simulator games. Whilst on the subject of live streaming, Dave, is there a particular day or days when you live stream? Do you have a schedule, or is it just a case of as and when you can? Just so I know that when you're next live, and in case anybody else might be interested in watching you play live too. I think it's really interesting as well watching somebody play it live as opposed to recording a show. I'm sure it's the same dynamic as it is booking a wrestling show as a wrestling booker in real life and doing it live compared to recording a particular show. Nitro versus Raw, for instance, respectively, that comes to mind. One thing as well I do like about Dave's shows as well is the interaction he tries to have with the viewers, and this is something that perhaps I could learn from doing perhaps. So for example, in one of his WCW Nitro episodes, Dave asks,
our question of the day is, will Nitro beat last week's rating of 78?
Well, if you want to know the answer to that, you'll have to watch his video. So me and Dave joke about stealing each other's ideas, and I think to myself, with whatever I've done, whether I know it or not, it's probably been done by somebody else anyway. So the chances are I've probably stolen some kind of concept or idea from somewhere or someone. Whether I've done it or not consciously, I don't know. But if I do know that I've stolen from somebody, I'm willing to admit, I'm not going to lie. But right now, Dave, I'm actually going to steal that idea that you've just done, that I've shown. So, I'm going to ask the audience a question. Let's see how this particular question goes. So, my question is, during The Rock's promo, before Austin comes out, The Rock talks, hypes up the main event, and he talks about being a teacher. More specifically, he mentions the lessons that he's going to teach Big Show and Haku. Big Show, tonight you get Rock Bottom 101. Haku, tonight you get People's Elbow $5.99. So my question to the audience watching is, what is the meaning behind the number of the lesson for Haku? Now I know this might be a non-TEW related question, and it is a tricky answer, so I will give you a clue. And the clue is the location of this show. Just interested to see if anybody might be interested in knowing or answering perhaps. So just to say again, thanks Dave Mack. Also again, check out the Fall Brawl pay-per-view. That ending to that show, amazing. So with the hot dogging and grandstanding, out of the way, it's now time to talk about the final show before the WWF heads to Las Vegas. So SmackDown will be next, but unfortunately there is only one confirmed match announcement. However, before that match is announced, it's revealed that Linda McMahon will be in attendance with Mick Foley. Whilst the CEO continues to sing the good graces of the former and possibly future commissioner, Linda will be on hand to talk about the 10-man tag team elimination match as she has an announcement. But what will the thoughts be in the stipulation that if Jericho and the Radicalz lose that match, then they'll be fired? And speaking of the 10-man tag team elimination match, we'll also hear from Raven as to why the former ECW champion has aligned himself with Haku, William Regal, Big Show and Triple H. Raven talks about flying, or something to do with the wings of Raven, and flying to a new civilization earlier tonight. Who knows what he could be referring to? Maybe we might have more of an understanding in 3 days' time. And there might just be the one announcement, but it does have implications for the pay-per-view at Caesar's Palace, as Spike Dudley goes one-on-one with Albert. We now know that the Dudley Boys, which Spike is a part of, will defend their tag team titles against X Factor, which Albert is a part of, on Sunday. But there's more than pride at stake between these two individuals, as the winner will be able to select the stipulation for the tag team titles at Fully Loaded. On paper, this should be a walk in the park for Albert due to the size difference, but don't count out little Spike Dudley. He's beaten men Albert's size, most recently Brian Lee back in June. Who will win this match, and what will the stipulation be for the winning team? We'll find out this Thursday on SmackDown. So that concludes this episode of Raw is War. I will leave you with a commercial regarding the 10-man tag team elimination match, as Jericho and the Radicalz have it all to do on Sunday at Fully Loaded, and then the match graphics to indicate the card for the pay-per-view in Las Vegas. As a single match announcement for SmackDown has shown, a disclaimer, card is always subject to change. Thank you for bearing with me for this episode, thank you for the response to the last video, and as ever, thank you so much for watching.
And that's what I'm focusing on now. I'm focusing on my business, which is the WCW.
Vince, that's why I wanted to talk to you. Because it's about Shane. I've seen a few of the wrestlers hanging out with each other. Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero and Saturn. I've seen the four of them talk with Shane McMahon. And they were asking about his plans with WCW. He's making plans. Shane's making plans to laud back former WCW talent, isn't he? Well, we're not gonna let that happen. I'll take care of it. I know there's four of them, but I'm gonna go out there and find 3 like-minded individuals who will help me take care of the problem for you. Well, as far as your associations with WCW in the past go, including you, Jericho, you're gonna lay all your cards on the table. Because they're fully loaded, the 8-man tag team match, well, we just upped the ante to a 10-man tag team match. You, Jericho, you will now team with the Radicalz, Benoit, Malenko, Guerrero and Saturn. And your opponents shall be Big Show, Regal, Haku, Raven, and me. And you better have a game plan ready for the house like fully loaded, because if you lose, you're fired.